The great Devil King had become the true master of Yaowang Valley, but its personality was extremely introverted, afraid of contact with anything new, and not good at communicating with others. The thing it loved most was being alone in peace and quiet, without being disturbed by anyone. Since Yao Zun left, the great Devil King had fallen into a long sleep, silently experiencing countless years of ups and downs. The excited Herb Kings begged and pleaded to the great Devil King. Yaowang Valley needs someone to save it. The humans have attacked. They're capturing our brethren. We have to resist, or we'll only face death, great Devil King. We beg you to help. Behind the stone pillar, the great Devil King's round head slowly peeked out. It was extremely surprised, carefully choosing its words, and cautiously replied, "How is that possible? As long as we're in Yaowang Valley, humans can never defeat our herb race." The great Devil King still remembered very clearly that Yao Zun had once asserted that no human cultivator could threaten the herb race in Yaowang Valley, unless that person was a genius once in 10,000 years, possessing unprecedented power. But now, the news it had just heard couldn't help but frighten it. It didn't want to get involved in this troublesome matter at all. The Herb Kings clamored to persuade, "This is the truth. Many of our brethren have been killed. Right now, only you can save Yaowang Valley. You are the strongest, with the highest status. As long as you come forward, our herb race will definitely unite to resist the invaders." The great Devil King shook its head like a rattledrum, whispering, "No, I can't do it, you guys. I just want to be here in peace." Moreover, Yaowang Valley has a limited time. When it closes, the humans will automatically be teleported out. During this time, you guys should just hide. It's much safer. It said a long string of words, but the more it spoke, the quieter its voice became. The Herb Kings were almost driven crazy. Could it be that this trip was all for nothing? At this time, the Crimson Star Ginseng suddenly had an idea. "Great Devil King, you're thinking too simply. Do you think those cunning humans will spare you? You are the oldest existence in Yaowang Valley. They will definitely come looking for you. You can't avoid it, even if you want to." Hearing this, the great Devil King became even more frightened, even wanting to find a hole to burrow into. Even if it was the end of the world, it wouldn't want to show its face. "They'll come looking for me," the Crimson Star Ginseng continued. "If they catch you, they'll definitely surround you and study how to deal with you, or take you out to auction you off. By that time, many humans will know about you." The great Devil King almost collapsed, its body trembling. Don't say any more." Just thinking about being locked in a cage, surrounded by a crowd of humans, it wanted to die on the spot. The Crimson Star Ginseng said further, "Actually, the solution is very simple. Among the humans this time, there are only a few who are particularly difficult to deal with. As long as you show up and help us suppress them, we can handle the rest." The Herb Kings chimed in unison. "That's right, you'll be helping us, and you'll be helping yourself. After everything is settled, you can continue to come back here to sleep soundly, and we won't bother you anymore." The great Devil King was silent, seemingly weighing the pros and cons. After a moment of reluctance, it finally replied, "All right, I'll only deal with a few of the strongest humans. The rest is up to you guys." The Herb Kings jumped for joy, eager to express their gratitude to the great Devil King. This reaction scared the crap out of the great Devil King, who quickly hid behind a stone pillar, his voice trembling. Don't come any closer. Keep your distance. Let me prepare myself before I come out." The Herb Kings were helpless and had to back off. Okay. One of the Herb Kings sighed, looking at his cowardly state. "Are you sure you can suppress the humans? I don't trust you at all. Don't underestimate him." According to Shifeng Valley's rules, existences like the Great Devil King are unfathomably strong. Besides, those humans are just chi-refining cultivators, at most strong enough to suppress Foundation establishment. They can't possibly fight a nascent soul, right? "You're right. I'll spread the word and call on the herb race to unite against the humans." After convincing himself, the great Devil King finally stepped out of the darkness. The light was almost blinding, making him feel like a prisoner released after years of confinement, facing the bustling world with timidity and fear. Deep in the forest, Master Ren Deng and his group were advancing with imposing manner. The cultivators following behind felt very secure, no longer worrying about being captured and tortured by the herb race. Along the way, the precious herbs, seeing the group from afar, all ran away in fright, like gazelles encountering a pack of tigers. Hearing this, the gray-robed old man was overjoyed and quickly bowed his head, saying, "Thank you, great master." Ren Deng clasped his hands before his chest, his face compassionate, saying, Good. It's my honor that you fellow Taoists need my help." Instantly, the atmosphere became noisy. A large group of cultivators with resounding reputations rushed forward, trying to order precious herbs from Shiran Deng. "Master, I want a thunderstruck wood. Name your price." "I need dragon bloodgrass. Please grant my request, master." "Master, I want to pre-order some rare precious herbs." The Chan cultivators of Xuankong Temple standing beside them all looked excited, as if seeing a great opportunity to make a fortune right before their eyes. Just then, a sudden change occurred. A group of lively little creatures appeared, all of them precious herbs exuding intense life force. A cultivator shouted in horror, "Master Ren Deng, it's an ambush!" Ren Deng was slightly stunned, then he sneered, his eyes sharp. "Excellent, I was wondering how to find you. Now you've delivered yourselves to my doorstep." A series of Herb Kings stepped out, angrily shouting, "Old Baldy, don't be too smug." Ren Deng's eyes narrowed, a greedy glint flashing in his pupils. "This is the opportunity Buddha has bestowed upon me. If I can subdue all of you, it will be a measurable blessing for me. Stubborn and unwilling to repent, let me enlighten you." His entire body emitted radiant Buddhist light, his footsteps like blossoming lotuses. carrying an aura of holiness. Instantly, the Herb Kings charged forward together, surging energy sweeping across all directions, causing others to tremble in fear. Rumble, dust filled the air, and from the misty haze, a golden figure emerged, his posture unwavering, like an old monk on his way to the western heaven, to seek scriptures. The Herb Kings all showed astonished expressions. This powerful, so defensive, Qi Jingji shouted. Great Devil King, it's your turn to act. Quickly suppress this old baldy. We beg you, Great Devil King. Please help the herb race resist the human. Hearing this name, the faces of the surrounding cultivators immediately changed, a chill running down their spines. Master Randang's eyes showed suspicion. Great Devil King, could it be that Shifeng Valley has a hidden demonic cultivator expert? But even though he was called repeatedly, this Great Devil King did not appear. He turned around and saw that the little mushroom had already turned around and run away, burrowing into the ground. Can't wait any longer. Qi Jingji had no choice but to rush forward himself, forcefully pushing the Great Devil King out of hiding. Go ahead and take action. Don't let us down. The Great Devil King appeared, looking extremely reluctant. When he saw the dense crowd of cultivators in front of him, his whole body trembled, and he almost turned around and ran away. This scene stunned all the cultivators. Then they burst out laughing. It's just a mushroom? So this is the legendary Great Devil King. Haha. The laughter only made the Great Devil King more embarrassed, hanging his head and not daring to speak. If he had a face, it would definitely be as red as a monkey's butt. This is... Master Rendang's eyes gradually changed, from doubt to bewilderment, and finally to extreme surprise and fanaticism. He remembered a record in the ancient books of Xuan Kong Temple, talking about a type of ancient herb that looked like a black mushroom, called the imperishable chaos ancient. According to the description, if a cultivator could refine this ancient herb, their strength would increase unprecedentedly, their lifespan would be extended by hundreds of millions of years, and even if it was made into medicine, it could regenerate the body and strengthen the meridians. If you drank it for a long time, you could reach a realm approaching the immortals. Master Randang trembled with excitement, his breathing becoming rapid. This is the greatest opportunity of my life. It must be that my sincerity has moved Buddha, bestowing upon me such a great treasure. Amitabha, I am truly grateful to the compassionate Buddha. Rendang couldn't restrain his excitement, and gathered his strength to raise his hand, golden light shining brightly, like Buddha taking action to suppress demons. Swoosh! A giant golden hand descended from the sky, pressing down on the Great Devil King's body. In an instant, sand and dust rolled up, and everyone cheered excitedly. The master is mighty, Master Rendang said solemnly. This ancient herb is destined for Buddhism. I will take it first. Boom. At that moment, the golden hand was crushed to pieces. It felt both wronged and angry. That's too much. Why did you pat my head? The aura emanating from the Great Devil King became terrifying. Everyone was stunned, because the other party's aura was that of a perfect nascent soul. Heavens, this is the ultimate precious herb king. An ominous premonition rose in Randang's heart, but he still tried to maintain his composure. Demon, don't even think about running wild. A herb king beside him shouted, this old monk has the Vajra indestructible body. You can't possibly handle it. Rumble. The explosive sound was like thunder striking. The heavens and earth seemed to be turned upside down. When the smoke cleared, everyone stared in disbelief, only to see the Great Demon King sitting directly on the old monk, his dark butt squashing him flat. Grandmaster Randang's face was pale, fresh blood gushing from the corner of his mouth, his eyes filled with humiliation and pain. After all, this was a being at the peak Yawang level, a true overlord of Yawang Valley. Even with a Vajra body protecting him, he couldn't withstand that Mount Tai crushing blow. He was flattened like wallpaper. The Great Demon King roared, so you wanted to smack my head, huh? Smack my head, huh? In a fit of anger, he continuously jumped up and stomped down, each stomp shaking the earth and the sky, hitting Randang's body repeatedly, as if venting all the humiliation of being called a mushroom. Grandmaster Randang's eyelids twitched from the pounding, his divine light shattered, fresh blood flowed like a stream, and his face turned ashen. If it were an ordinary person, they would have been blown off the battlefield long ago. But unfortunately, his body was too tanky, his defense was too strong, so he couldn't die and couldn't escape. So he was continuously suppressed, becoming a laughingstock for the world. You wicked creature, if you have the guts, let this old monk stand up. Hearing this, the Great Demon King obediently lifted his butt off the old monk, but when Grandmaster Randang tremblingly stood up, it suddenly sat down again. A miserable scream echoed. Grandmaster Randang's face twisted in agony, his heart filled with humiliation and anger, wishing he could be teleported out immediately, to avoid suffering the ultimate humiliation in front of so many people. Great Demon King, hand this old monk over to us. Let him know what manners are, one of the Yawang said angrily. All right. Without delay, the Great Demon King waved his hand and summoned 2 emerald green vines, tightly wrapping Grandmaster Randang's hands, locking him up like tying a chicken. This was originally its source of power, making it impossible for the old monk to resist. You, what do you want to do? Buddha will not forgive you, Grandmaster Randang shouted in panic, an ominous premonition surging in his heart. Thinking of the previous embarrassing incident in Yawang Valley, his whole body turned cold, and his hair stood on end. He originally intended to take this opportunity to wash away his humiliation, but unexpectedly he encountered a great Yawang on the way, and it was a being with natural combat power so strong that he couldn't get up after being suppressed once. Strip him naked, the Yawang roared angrily, as if wanting to vent all the pent-up frustration. Stop, this old monk is a Buddhist monk. You will be punished for doing this, Grandmaster Randang shouted and trembled, his old face full of pain. On the other side, after a short battle, a tall tree was uprooted, its trunk bent and knelt on the ground, its leaves trembling, making rustling sounds in the wind, as if in fear. Esteemed seniors, please don't attack anymore. I just happened to pass by. I have no intention of offending you at all. Really? Absolutely true. The big tree waved its branches in a fluster, making vows, but feeling the murderous aura surrounding it, it couldn't help but tremble, its branches and leaves shaking violently. What's that? Up there, it seems like there's some really beautiful fruit. An Miaoyi's eyes lit up, her voice filled with surprise. Fan De Zhang looked up attentively and immediately exclaimed with joy, "Miss, those are the spirit, essence, heavenly origin fruits. They are definitely great for your physique. On that treetop were dozens of shimmering spirit fruits, their light flowing gently, and their surfaces had tiny bright spots like miniature stars, which were the spirit, essence, heavenly origin fruits. Eating this kind of fruit can enhance one's spiritual power and strengthen the foundation. Outside, one fruit is already invaluable and hard to find. When Wendao sect scoured the entire Gong province, they never found any trace of this stuff, yet now this ancient tree has produced dozens of them for you. All for you." The ancient tree immediately showed its good sense and shook, dropping the spirit fruits one by one. After all, it can still bear dozens more fruits in a few thousand years. Moreover, if these fruits fell to the ground, no spirit beast would bother to eat them. It would be too wasteful. "Miss, do you see that? This is a heaven-defying opportunity," Fan De Zhang said in a trembling voice, his eyes red with excitement. "Uncle Fan, this trip was not in vain." An Miaoyi smiled brightly like the rising sun in early winter. As long as she refines these spirit fruits, her spiritual power will reach a new level. At this moment, the ancient tree whispered, "May I leave now?" Ye Junlin stroked his chin, his eyes deep. "You were being sneaky earlier. Were you spying on us? You're being interrogated." Li Wuji's voice was as cold as ice, and he stepped forward with his blade. Hong Tianye raised her hand, her index finger gliding lightly, and a dazzling flame burst from her fingertip. She said coldly, "Tell the truth, otherwise." The ancient tree trembled so much that it almost dropped all its branches, and leaves fell in a mess. "Heaven and earth are my witnesses. I was just curious. I had no ill intentions." Ye Junlin waved his sleeve. "All right, get lost. Thank you, senior, for sparing my life." The ancient tree was as if granted amnesty, immediately grabbed its two roots like two legs, turned around and ran away, disappearing without a trace in just a few breaths. Fan De Zhang frowned at this time. "Young Master Ye, did you discover anything?" Ye Junlin said slowly. "I have a feeling that the Yao race has not given up. I'm afraid they are secretly gathering strength to attack us. The ancient tree just now was a sleeper agent." "What? If that's the case, I should have slashed it just now." Li Wuji gritted his teeth in anger. Ye Junlin shrugged slightly, his eyes cold. "Letting it run away makes it easier to lure the snake out of its hole." At this moment, a turbulent air current blew over, and from a distance came the sound of dense footsteps, like thousands of troops and horses rushing forward. "Something's happening," a soft shout rang out. In just a moment, a scene that stunned everyone appeared before them. Fan De Zhang was stunned. "Oh my god." An Miaoyi covered her mouth with her hand, her eyes wide. Li Wuji's face twitched, and he said in a trembling voice, "Am I going crazy?" Hong Tianye's eyes lit up, and she clapped her hands in praise. "Interesting, so interesting." "Master, that black thing looks familiar." Bai Shaoxi tilted her head and whispered. Ye Junlin's eyes narrowed, and he took a deep breath. Didn't he just leave not long ago? How did that old monk end up like this? Before his eyes, Grandmaster Randang's body was naked, hanging upside down on a bamboo pole. His whole body was blackened, covered with smelly filth, and flies buzzed around him. His face was dazed, his eyes were dim, completely different from his previous appearance as a noble monk. Below them were rows of cultivators kneeling on the ground, carrying medicinal herbs on their backs, looking like livestock but were actually people. If this scene were to happen outside, it would definitely shake the entire cultivation world. A medicine king coldly swept his gaze over them, looking at Ye Junlin and the others, and snorted, "You guys better kneel down and beg for forgiveness now, otherwise your end will be just like that old monk behind you." No way, that old monk was really captured by them. Li Wuji was shocked. He had fought with Randang before and knew how tough the other's Vajra body was, yet he was defeated by these medicine kings. How could this be? But the scene before his eyes completely shattered his understanding. Even Randang was humiliated to this extent. How could he resist? Hong Tianye's expression gradually became solemn and couldn't help but tremble. "No, I don't want to be hung up and have dung poured on me. That's no different from killing someone by crushing their self-esteem." Ye Junlin, on the other hand, smiled lightly with interest. "I really want to know who gave you guys the balls to do this. After all, he witnessed Randang's abilities firsthand. Whoever can suppress this guy must be no pushover." As soon as he said this, the entire medicine clan immediately flew into a rage. "Too arrogant! This human is too conceited." At this time, Randang was tied upside down to a bamboo frame, his body covered in filth, his aura dim, his face as pale as paper, his mouth filled with disgusting smells, and his dignity completely gone. The ideas of revenge and washing away his shame that once surged in his heart had now all turned to ashes. In his heart there was only one thought: to get out of this godforsaken place as soon as possible. But when he saw Ye Junlin standing there, his sleeves fluttering as he calmly faced the medicine clan, Randang's eyes flashed with a cold light. The corners of his mouth curled up in mockery. "Kid, enjoy the rest of your time as a human. When you get tortured later, you'll understand what real suffering is." He had endured humiliation and hardship, so he wanted to see Ye Junlin suffer 100 times more than him. Only then would his heart be comforted. At the same time, a cold shout echoed through the air. "Outside, you humans may be the strongest experts, but don't forget, this is Medicine King Valley, the territory of our medicine clan. You lowly humans are only fit to be sacrifices." As soon as he finished speaking, Qi Jingji raised his hands high and shouted, "Please welcome the Great Devil King! Great Devil King! Great Devil King! Great Devil King!" The whole world seemed to shake, and the entire medicine clan excitedly roared. Their emotions were extremely frenzied, and the shouts echoed like roaring waves, surging like the sea roaring and the mountains collapsing. "Great Devil King!" Fan Deju was terrified. His face turned pale. "Is there such an evil existence here?" Hong Tianye frowned, his brow twitching incessantly. Even he in his prime had never dared to call himself a Great Devil King. Just who is this person? As for Ye Junlin, he only lightly raised an eyebrow, his eyes as sharp as lightning, and said in a deep voice, "Oh, I really want to see just what kind of holy figure this great devil king you speak of is. The shout still resounded through the heavens and the earth. But that great devil king was slow to appear. Seeing this, Qi Jingji anxiously jumped into the crowd and forcefully pushed out a giant mushroom that was hiding at the end of the formation, shouting, "Great Devil King, you are the strongest bad guy here. Only you can defeat that human." Under the bewildered gazes of everyone, Ye Junlin remained in place, his cold eyes looking at the dark giant mushroom in front of him, a mushroom over 1 meter tall and all black. This is the Great Devil King. Everyone was stunned. The eyes of Ye Junlin, Fan Dezhu, and Hong Tianye were all full of question marks, doubting whether they had seen wrong, and that black mushroom obviously didn't like being watched by everyone, its voice trembling, but still gritted its teeth and replied, "That's right." That answer made the crowd even more speechless. Hong Tianye's expression changed drastically at this moment, as if he had remembered something. A gleam of light flashed in his eyes, and he said in a deep voice, "No way. Could this be the immortal chaos mushroom?" Ye Junlin tilted his head. "What did you just say?" This mushroom, Hong Tianye almost vomited blood, trying to suppress his emotions, and explained through gritted teeth. "This is not an ordinary mushroom, it is the immortal chaos mushroom, a legendary ancient medicine. Eating it can enhance one's strength and lifespan, its effects are endless. In the cultivation world, it is considered the closest thing to an immortal medicine." Closest thing to an immortal medicine, Fan Dezhu repeated in a trembling voice, his expression changing. There was no longer a trace of greed in his eyes, only deep horror, a peak medicine king. According to the Division of Strength in Medicine King Valley, this is equivalent to a perfected golden core. "It's over." Fan Dezhu felt a chill run down his spine, his whole body trembling. Just then, boom! A terrifying aura like a volcanic eruption shook the air, causing all the surrounding trees to sway non-stop, and leaves to fall everywhere. "Be careful," Li Wuji cried out, his hair standing on end, screaming in his heart. This is a level he couldn't possibly resist, not even on the same level. No wonder Randang was suppressed so easily, only to see the black mushroom devil king angrily shout, "You guys are going too far, still want to eat me? Who allowed you to disturb my sleep?" Whoosh! Its figure disappeared in an instant, and a powerful aura like Mount Tai pressing down from the sky. Everyone was struck by lightning, their faces pale, their figures staggering, and they quickly retreated backwards. Hong Tianye was also extremely horrified. The difference in strength was too obvious. But in the midst of the surging storm, he saw a black figure still standing in place, standing as still as Mount Tai. A second later, Hong Tianye's pupils shrank violently, his eyes widening in disbelief. Ding! Detected that the host is being attacked by an enemy at the perfected golden core stage. Activating the passive effect, the stronger the enemy, the stronger the host. Cultivation base skyrocketed to the early nascent soul stage. The system's voice echoed in Ye Junlin's ears. At that moment, the aura of Ye Junlin's entire body increased crazily, instantly jumping from the 9th level of Qi refining to the early nascent soul realm. His long silver hair fluttered, his eyes like lightning, and his fierce killing intent surged endlessly. He was like a god or demon descending, his aura like a tornado sweeping across the sky and the earth. His deep, cold voice echoed throughout Medicine King Valley, carrying a majesty that shattered the clouds above. "Well done!" Boom! A force like a falling meteor collided in a heaven-shattering collision, but Ye Junlin was able to suppress it with one hand, forcibly pushing back the killing blow. Crack! Crack! Rows of trees collapsed, rocks shattered, and the ground cracked into a spiderweb pattern. In the middle of the deep pit was still a clear imprint of the giant mushroom. The entire place was silent, so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. "Great Devil King!" Dr. Wang shouted in a cracked voice, his eyes revealing disbelief. They all knew that the Great Devil King was the strongest existence in Medicine King Valley, yet at this moment he was sent flying by that human with just one hand. "Uncle Fan, young Master Ye, just now he directly increased from golden core to nascent soul," An Yaoyi muttered, her voice trembling. Fan Dezhu's eyes were full of admiration, and he sighed softly. "This method is truly earth-shattering. Even the suppression of Medicine King Valley can't stop him. Just what kind of secret technique is this?" Hong Tianye's expression was solemn, and a deep doubt flashed in his eyes. "It doesn't make sense. This is simply impossible." Since entering Medicine King Valley, he had gradually seen the secrets of this place. The reason why the Medicine Clan is thriving here is not only due to the foundation of spirit medicines, but because of the rules personally established by the Medicine Sovereign. Anyone who enters Medicine King Valley will be affected by this rule. No matter if you are Golden Core or Nascent Soul, Integration or Great Ascension, as long as you have not become an immortal, you will be forced back to the 9th level of Qi refining. This is the gap between immortal and mortal, an insurmountable difference, an absolute order that no one can resist. Yet now, there is someone who has broken that rule. He forcibly boosted his cultivation to Nascent Soul, and powerfully knocked away the real Medicine King. No way. How could such an existence exist? Hong Tianye felt cold sweat dripping down. His body stiffened, and an indescribable feeling surged in his heart. If it's true, then it's not just Medicine King Valley that's doomed, but he's afraid he won't be able to escape the devil's clutches either. "Wang Tuihua, are you okay?" Li Wuji cautiously asked. Scram! Hong Tianye was annoyed and immediately snapped angrily. Li Wuji was stunned and could only shut his mouth in embarrassment. Not far away, Grandmaster Randang, who was taped to a bamboo tree, had originally hoped to witness Ye Junlin being ruthlessly suppressed by the Great Devil King, but now the entire situation had completely reversed. His eyes were wide open, his mouth almost torn to his ears. He still remembered that punch hitting his chest so vividly. He originally thought that even if Ye Junlin's strength was high, he couldn't stand against the Great Devil King's anger. After all, the opponent was a Golden Core completion stage, and was blessed by the rules of Medicine King Valley. His power had far surpassed the Nascent Soul stage, enough to injure even a transformation god expert. Yet Ye Junlin slapped him away. If that slap had landed on him, he was afraid that he would have been teleported out of Medicine King Valley long ago. Strange, he clearly didn't use this kind of power before. He deliberately let me stay here as bait, to lure these medicine clansmen to mock and humiliate me. Thinking of this, Grandmaster Randang's face turned green as he raised his head to look at that black figure, his eyes revealing obvious hatred. Damn it. It's all your fault. I will get this debt back one day. In the deep pit filled with broken rocks and dust, the great Devil King was dizzy and only slowly regained his senses. I was knocked away. His eyes were full of panic. He clearly felt Ye Junlin break through the rule suppression in that short moment, his cultivation directly rising to the nascent soul stage. No way. The great Devil King trembled and muttered. Back then, it was Medicine Honored One himself who set up the rules and vowed to guarantee that no one below the true immortal level could break them. What's going on? Did it lose its effectiveness because it's been too long? Facing the cracked deep pit, the aura on Ye Junlin's body suddenly dropped, falling from the nascent soul realm back to the 9th level of chi refining. That giant mushroom. Ye Junlin smiled slightly, his smile lazy yet sharp like a knife's edge. If you still have any abilities, just use them, otherwise I'll pluck you and make soup to see if the taste of a 1,000-year-old demon mushroom is any different. He deliberately used provocative words to lure the opponent to take the initiative to attack. Only then could the system activate the counterattack mechanism. Boom. With a deafening roar, spiritual energy crazily gathered and transformed into a surging storm. The great Devil King's figure roared towards him like a meteor. You little bastard, I will never let you achieve your goal. Ding. Detected that the host is being attacked by a golden core completion enemy. Passive activated. Become stronger when facing stronger opponents. Cultivation skyrocketing to the initial stage of nascent soul. In Ye Junlin's mind, the system's voice sounded. At the same time, the aura on his body suddenly surged, leaping from the 9th level of chi refining to the initial stage of nascent soul. Facing the great Devil King rushing over like a storm, he didn't panic or get flustered, raised his right hand to meet the attack, his movements as skilled as flowing water and drifting clouds. Rumble, rumble, rumbles. The dense sound of collision rang out, like dragon roars and tiger howls shaking the heavens and the earth. The great Devil King became more and more panicked as he fought. He really ignored the rule suppression and forcibly raised his cultivation to nascent soul. Ye Junlin stepped forward, the undying overlord body art circulating, his flesh radiating divine light into the sky, an unparalleled primeval force. And then he threw a punch, like thunder descending. Bop! With a heaven-shaking sound, the great Devil King's body was slapped away, again plunged straight into the ground. Boom! A huge cloud of dust rose up like a pillar of smoke reaching the sky. In the deep pit, the great Devil King lay sprawled out, his soul trembling, as if even the will to survive had been shattered. On the ground, the great Devil King's face was horrified, his eyes dazed, and an unprecedented emotion surged in his heart. Ah, am I about to die? His life was long and monotonous, without any purpose or dreams. Only when facing death did he feel that living was meaningless. In the next life, I don't want— Ye Junlin's face changed instantly. A smile blooming like a spring breeze across a bamboo bed, he said softly. Before you kick the bucket, could you do me a tiny favor? What is it? When you hit me later, I'll definitely use all my strength to take the blow. I'll smack you into a sputtering mess, guaranteeing a peaceful and painless death for you. Like just falling asleep. The great Devil King was stunned, hardly believing his ears. Is this what a human would say? Nah, this is straight up animal talk. He angrily turned his back, not wanting to say another word. Just kill me already, hack me to bits if you want, but cut the crap. Seeing this, Ye Junlin narrowed his eyes, the corners of his lips twitching, his gentle smile slowly turning sinister. He chuckled softly like a demon crawling out of the depths of hell. Alright then, since you've decided, I'll just toss you into a pot to make mushroom soup, or kill a few chickens to stew with you for some chicken and mushroom goodness. Don't worry, I'll eat every last bit, leaving nothing behind. With that, from who knows where, he pulled out a massive black pot, big as a well, and banged it a couple of times with a ladle. Get in here, don't you want to die? I'll help you fulfill your wish. The great Devil King instantly trembled all over, stammering, Give me a chance. Huh, don't want to die anymore? No, I want to try living a little longer. Alright, Ye Junlin grinned. But first, you have to become my disciple. Ding. Congratulations, host, for successfully taking in a disciple, rewarding you with a peerless divine ability. 1 chi, 3 purities. Ding. Detecting disciple's high aptitude, granting an additional supreme cultivation method. Azure Emperor Everlasting Art. Ye Junlin was overjoyed, like he'd struck gold. Finally, he'd accomplished his goal. Ye Junlin strode forward, glaring at the great Devil King. Come here, from now on you're my disciple, I'll protect you. Finishing his words, he closed 2 fingers and pointed out a stream of green light, turning into a ray of starlight that shot straight into the great Devil King's forehead. This is the cultivation method your master is giving you. Quickly accept it and start cultivating. Boom! The great Devil King's head felt like it was about to explode. The Azure Emperor Everlasting Art, a cultivation method containing supreme great Tao principles, instantly unfolded in his sea of consciousness like a sacred scroll. In an instant, his body trembled in waves, his spirit violently fluctuating. He was utterly astonished. What kind of cultivation method is this? How can it be so terrifying? Everyone knows. The herb race are innately weak, not good at fighting. Their only advantage is a lifespan far exceeding that of humans. But if they could make up for that weakness, then for the herb race, it would be a huge stroke of good fortune. And the Azure Emperor Everlasting Art was the key to compensating for their fatal flaws, lack of combat power, and slow cultivation. As a top-grade herb king, possessing the potential of the immortal chaos, once he cultivated this technique, it would be like a carp turning into a dragon, defying the heavens and changing his fate, ascending to the sky in a single step. At this moment, the great Devil King completely believed Ye Junlin's sly words, his eyes shining brightly. He kowtowed, his voice trembling. Master, please accept this disciple's obeisance. He jumped up from the ground and respectfully prostrated himself before Ye Junlin. Ye Junlin clasped his hands behind his back and nodded slightly. This scene, falling into the eyes of the surrounding people, was like being struck by lightning in broad daylight. Everyone was petrified. What the heck is going on? They were fighting to the death, but suddenly he takes the guy as a disciple, and it's a mushroom. Like, what kind of weird fetish is that? Li Wuji's eyes lit up as he slapped his thigh and laughed. See? This is the master's plan. We'll never be able to keep up with this kind of thinking. Hung Tianye next to him glanced over, shushing him softly, inwardly cursing. Does this bastard have to have an obsession even when taking a disciple? In the cultivation world, battles are always a matter of you die or I live, but taking someone as a disciple mid-fight? Never seen that before. Hong Tianye even began to activate his demonic thinking. Could he be planning to nurture it into an immortal herb, waiting for the right time to refine it and swallow it whole? The more he thought about it, the more sense it made. Because the immortal chaos, if it grows to its peak, truly has the potential to transform into an immortal medicine. And once it's an immortal medicine, even immortals would fight to the death to snatch it. While the crowd was still blankly speculating, Bai Xiaoxi happily clapped her hands. Great, trying again, there's another little junior brother now. On the other side, Grandmaster Randeng was clinging to a bamboo tree, his eyes glazed over, like he'd lost his soul. He began to doubt his life. Has the world evolved to a point that he can no longer understand? If you counted from beginning to end, perhaps he was the one who was most severely harmed. At this moment, Ye Junlin turned around, carefully looking at the Great Devil King, his voice sincere. Now that you've joined my sect, you should also have a proper name. The title of Great Devil King easily causes misunderstandings. The Great Devil King hesitated slightly, speaking softly. Master, then please bestow a name. Ye Junlin nodded approvingly. You look like a black mushroom, and you have the destiny of the Azure Emperor, with extremely high growth potential. Combining all that, let's call you Little Black. The Great Devil King hesitated slightly. He wanted to object, but looking into Ye Junlin's eyes, he didn't dare to speak. On second thought, Little Black wasn't bad either. Humble, simple, and naturally rustic. Immediately after, Ye Junlin asked with a serious face. That's right, let me ask you about something from the past. Back then, why did Yawang Valley, under the control of the Medicine Sovereign, put on so many shows to suppress the human race while protecting your herb race? Ye Junlin frowned, genuinely puzzled, because he had always been unable to figure it out. The previous Medicine Sovereign clearly opened up Yawang Valley for the human race to freely gather herbs, outwardly appearing generous and magnanimous, but in reality he allowed the herb race here to oppress human cultivators. It was no different from a giant trap. That kind of two-faced behavior was really screwing people over without any discussion. Over the years, countless people still respected the Medicine Sovereign on the outside, but who knew that this place was a human race's slaughterhouse? Anyone who entered could only swallow their grievances and become a grandson. He truly couldn't understand why he would set up such a large-scale conspiracy. The Great Devil King didn't hesitate at all and blurted out, because the Medicine Sovereign, old man, is also a member of our herb race. What? Ye Junlin stood frozen in place. Not only him, but everyone around him widened their eyes. The Medicine Sovereign, who was famous throughout the heavens in ancient times, was actually a member of the herb race. In other words, his true form was a rare 1,000-year-old ancient herb, cultivating with his body and finally defying the heavens to become an immortal. As soon as this news came out, the entire place was speechless. The herb race was innately weak, and very few managed to attain Daio, but the Medicine Sovereign not only stepped onto the immortal path, but also left his name for posterity. No wonder, Ye Junlin asked with cold eyes. What exactly is his true form? It's a killing herb, the Great Devil King replied softly, his tone carrying a hint of reverence. At that time, the Medicine Sovereign had reached the level of immortal medicine, and it was an extremely rare type. His form was like a Qilin. His spirit energy filled the heavens. He was a rare creation forged by heaven and earth. Qilin herb. Hong Tianye's pupils contracted in an instant, his heart beating faster. This thing, according to legend, can seize the creation of heaven and earth. If anyone is lucky enough to refine it, even if they are near death, they can be resurrected. Great immortal fate, boundless magic power. Ye Junlin snorted coldly, his gaze sharp as a knife. So after becoming an immortal, he deliberately set up a trap. Wasn't it just to harm human cultivators in the future? Truly a master schemer? Opening Yawang Valley once every 10,000 years, famous in all directions, attracting countless people to compete? In reality, it's just an elaborately arranged bloody stage. The Great Devil King shrank his head back and carefully replied, it wasn't intentional, he was forced. Back then, many great forces coveted Yawang Valley, wanting to divide it up and tear it apart. The Medicine Sovereign, in order to leave the world in peace, had to open the Herb Valley, feigning compromise, and then secretly arranging things, controlling the realm of outsiders, strengthening the power of the herb race, and limiting cultivation based on quality. For example, I am a top-grade Great Herb King, and my cultivation reaches Golden Core perfection at most. Even if my aptitude is outstanding, I still can't break through. That is the rule he set to maintain stability within. Here, my buddies count down every day, waiting for the 100,000 years to open, just because countless human cultivators will flood in then, helping us ease our boredom. Hearing this, Ye Junlin's eyes flashed with a complex glint as he softly sighed. So that's how it is. The Medicine Clan weakened, and the Medicine Venerable only did that to protect his kin. After all, opening the valley was a compromise, setting up formations was defense, and his calculations were all to preserve his descendants. He wasn't entirely wrong. Li Wuji gave a bitter laugh, looking up and sighing. I thought the Medicine Venerable was a sage of the Eastern Domain, whose name spread through generations for his benevolence in saving people. Who knew it was all just our own imagination? No, the Great Demon King seriously retorted. That's true too. Back then, the Medicine Venerable truly helped many human powerhouses, but only because he was forced to. Otherwise, his true form would be severed, and he'd lose his spiritual life. Hearing the Great Demon King recount, Ye Junlin sighed softly. It truly was the fruit of a lifetime's effort. No wonder it's a Qilin medicine, a rare immortal medicine of this world. Its entire body is a treasure. Even a single piece could drive people insane. In that scenario, big shots from all directions coveted it. Whenever something happened, they'd come begging for help, and the Medicine Venerable couldn't refuse. Gradually, the world implicitly accepted his existence, because no one could fully subdue him, nor dared to pressure him. The Medicine Venerable quietly cultivated like that, eventually attaining Dao and becoming an immortal. Boom! At that very moment, a dazzling ray of light condensed from the sky above Medicine King Valley, transforming into a magnificent vortex in mid-air. A massive pull erupted. All cultivators simultaneously sensed This was a sign that Medicine King Valley was about to close. Amitabha. This old monk wants to go on a killing spree. Grandmaster Randang clasped his hands before his chest, his eyes revealing bone-chilling killing intent. The flames of resentment accumulated for so long seemed to burn his entire body. A peak tribulation transcending realm powerhouse, yet he had to suffer such humiliation. If he didn't wash away today's humiliation with fresh blood, how could he still have the face to call himself a powerhouse? Swish, swish, swish. Figures were successively drawn by the suction force, their bodies involuntarily flying straight into the vortex in the sky. Laughter and cheers echoed in all directions. Everyone, let's go! Li Wuji called out loudly. His body stirred slightly, and he rushed straight towards the vortex. Hong Tianye and everyone else immediately followed closely. Ye Junlin raised his hand, intending to bring the Great Demon King along, but the mushroom hesitated, taking a few steps back. Little Black, aren't you coming along? Ye Junlin was stunned. The Great Demon King showed hesitation, stammering in response. Originally, it only planned to handle the crisis, then return to its lair to continue sleeping soundly. Unexpectedly, things changed too quickly. Not only was it taken as a disciple, but it was also forced to impart supreme cultivation techniques. If it stayed in Medicine King Valley, although suppressed by the rules and unable to advance, it could still live peacefully, undisturbed. Seeing the Great Demon King's hesitant appearance, Ye Junlin merely smiled faintly. Your master respects your choice. If fate allows, I'll return to visit in 100,000 years. He only took the Great Demon King as a disciple for the system's reward. As for whether this disciple would follow him or not, he didn't care. They'd meet again later. Whoosh! Ye Junlin's figure silently flew up, transforming into a streak of light, and shot straight into the vortex. The Great Demon King stared blankly at that receding figure. A feeling of emptiness suddenly arose in its mind, as if it had lost something very important. At that very moment, a faint voice echoed in the Great Demon King's mind, urgently urging it to quickly chase after that silver-haired youth and leave Medicine King Valley, or it would regret it for the rest of its life. But stepping out of this place meant facing unfamiliar sights it had never known and unforeseeable dangers. That thought made its heart restless and uneasy, as if imprisoned by darkness, its heart recoiling in fear. It was flustered, unsure whether to advance or retreat. In just a few breaths, the Great Demon King suddenly recalled its long and arduous life, a solitary and boring life, without light, without a true confidant. It also remembered old acquaintances who had long since ascended to the immortal realm, with whom it had long lost contact. Right at that moment, a surge of fierce courage suddenly erupted in its heart, as if breaking free from shackles. An unnamed power surged through its entire body. The world is so vast, I want to go and see it. Boom! A resounding explosion echoed through the 9 heavens. The Great Demon King's figure transformed into a streak of black light, like a cannonball tearing through the sky, and shot straight towards Ye Junlin. Master, take me with you. Oh, Ye Junlin was slightly startled. He hadn't expected this black mushroom to figure things out so quickly. He smiled faintly, reaching out and grabbing it. All right, your master will take you along. The two figures, one person and one mushroom, transformed into streaks of light, shooting towards the vortex high above. At this moment, throughout Medicine King Valley, the native small creatures also all looked up, their eyes blank yet excited. Star King, look quickly, the Great Demon King actually left too. A small creature cried out in alarm. They all clearly saw the Great Demon King actively rush towards the sky, and was finally grabbed by a human cultivator and taken away. Qi Jingji also wide-eyed. What's going on here? Immediately after that, the vortex began to shrink, then completely vanished in midair. Whoosh! Outside Medicine King Valley, countless cultivators were successively teleported back out. Feeling their cultivation realms and their bodies recover once again, everyone was overjoyed and delighted, looking up at the blue sky and white clouds, breathing the free air outside greedily as if wanting to drink up the essence of heaven and earth. Finally free. Oh my god, freedom feels so good. They're out. A group of cultivators who hadn't managed to enter the valley earlier were now waiting outside, and immediately erupted in commotion upon seeing people emerge from inside. But look at them. They must have had a huge haul. Heavens, if I'd known earlier, I would have fought tooth and nail to get in. Not being able to enter the valley is truly the biggest regret of my life. Just then, a streak of golden light flashed. Boom, a filthy figure, a foul stench assailing the nose. It was none other than Grandmaster Randang, the one who once had a shocking reputation and now escaped the valley. He immediately cast a spell, cleansed his body, and changed into a brand new Kasaya. At first glance, he was once again the enlightened monk he used to be. However, the only difference was that his eyes were no longer as serene as before, but held a layer of violent killing intent. Hidden beneath his compassionate expression was a rage like a volcano about to erupt. Grandmaster, did you have any gains this time? Several Xuankong Temple elders stepped forward to greet him, smiling as they asked. One person laughed heartily. With Grandmaster Randang leading, our Xuankong Temple is sure to have a full basket of gains this time. Hearing that, veins immediately popped out on Grandmaster Randang's forehead, his eyes bloodshot. He coldly asked, "Are you mocking this old monk?" As soon as his words fell, a sharp aura spread out. That cultivator started dripping cold sweat, his whole body trembling, not understanding what mistake he had made. Just then, a loud roar like thunder exploded, shaking the entire area. All you who entered Medicine King Valley, stop right there for this old man. Everyone simultaneously looked over. The one who just spoke was a tall, middle-aged man wearing a wide-brimmed hat, his eyes revealing fierce killing intent. With an imposing aura, beside him was a captivating woman in a red dress, with a graceful figure and beauty capable of toppling cities, her chest rising and falling temptingly. Additionally, there was a short figure wearing a hat whose form was blurry, making it hard to discern their face. Deep in the shadows, there was also an old man wearing a black robe embroidered with golden patterns, his hair as white as snow, his hands clasped behind his back, with a free and unrestrained demeanor, his indifferent eyes seemingly having seen through all worldly affairs. Under the gaze of countless people, upon seeing that familiar group before appear, the cultivators who had been robbed couldn't help but shiver in fear. Someone's voice trembled. It's the old demon with white hair. No way, are they coming to rob us again? Heavens, do they even know what shame is? Shh, keep your voice down. Do you want to die? Whispers spread in all directions, and the surrounding crowd also wisely retreated, actively keeping their distance from the group that had just emerged from Medicine King Valley. Listen up, everyone. My master said whoever dares to resist is going against him, so they better face the consequences themselves. The wide-brimmed hat guy, wielding a big broadsword and looking all brutish, shouted loudly, his arrogance unmatched. The white-haired old dude maintained his icy expression, acting like a mysterious sage, but inside he was freaking ecstatic. This time he decided to pull off a big one, robbing every cultivator who ever entered Medicine King Valley clean. After all, no one can leave that place empty-handed, so robbing them is like having a fat cake delivered right to your doorstep. The white-haired old coot glanced at the crowd, cowering in fear, a sinister smile creeping onto his lips. This feeling of throwing your weight around by borrowing someone else's power is just too damn satisfying. Ye Junlin's name is just too good to use. Just then, the faces of the cultivators who had just left Medicine King Valley froze. So unlucky, no sooner had they left the valley than they ran into a notorious gang of robbers. The important thing is, they don't even have any herbs left to hand over. Are they trying to take our lives? Damn it, it's those guys again. Anne Miaoyi's face flushed red with anger, her white hands clenched tightly, her almond eyes wide. Fan Dezheng's eyes lit up, but he carefully observed the reactions of his four companions. Not daring to act rashly, Ye Junlin laughed out of anger. All right, these guys want to get caught, huh? His eyes were cold, locking onto the white-haired old man. Seriously, you old geezer dares to impersonate me. A person like me, so suave and dashing, so handsome and extraordinary, you couldn't imitate even half of my charm, even if you trained for 1,000 years. Hong Tianye's eyes blazed with fury, his fists clenched until his knuckles cracked, grinding his teeth and saying coldly, "Damn it, they even found a chick to impersonate me." Especially when he saw that the fake version had massive honkers, the demonic sect leader immediately felt a kind of indescribable humiliation, directly attacking his soul. And that guy is even more arrogant than me. Li Wuji was momentarily stunned, then gritted his teeth. He's the Blade Devil, a name that strikes fear into the hearts of people, yet now he's being impersonated by some low-level bandits. The Great Demon King shrank back, seeing the unfamiliar environment, and with so many people around, his social anxiety instantly kicked in, and all the courage he had gathered vanished. Seeing this, Bai Xiaoxi reached out her small, tender hand and gently patted his mushroom head, comforting him softly. "Junior brother, don't be afraid." The Great Demon King's body trembled. He really hated being patted on the head, but in the little girl's innocent and bright eyes he felt a rare warmth and closeness. "May I ask how I should address you?" Try calling me Bai Xiaoxi, so your senior sister Bai. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Oh, there's no need to be so polite. Bai Xiaoxi happily spun around in place. Hearing the little junior brother call her senior sister, it felt like she had just eaten a sweet candy. "Senior sister Bai, what's the situation now?" "It looks like there are some people wearing clothes just like yours," the Great Demon King asked curiously. Bai Xiaoxi replied blankly. "Ah, they're impersonating us, getting ready to rob people." The Great Demon King gasped in surprise. "You humans really know how to play." But just then, a vast and terrifying aura shook the heavens and the earth. The pressure of a peak tribulation transcendence realm cultivator instantly spread like a tide, causing countless cultivators to feel a chill all over their bodies, their minds buzzing, their bodies unable to move. Golden Buddhist light shone across the sky. An old white-browed monk stepped on lotus flowers and flew into the air, his eyes like lightning striking down, locking onto the four figures in front. The old man's voice echoed in all directions, his killing intent concealed to the point of being impossible to hide. "Fellow benefactors, must you go this far?" Grandmaster Randang, who had been gathering his anger and waiting to unleash it, finally found an excuse to erupt like thunder. Boom. The white-haired old man and his three companions were struck by lightning out of the blue, cold sweat pouring down like rain, their eyes wide, unable to believe it. How could this be? Someone actually dares to resist him? He doesn't seem to be afraid of us, motherfucker. Tribulation Transcendence Realm Aura, this is clearly an Earth Immortal. What are you afraid of? Ye Junlin has killed Earth Immortals from the Feathered Divinity sect before. The rumors are everywhere. As long as we act well, we can scare that old monk, and maybe even intimidate him. The others whispered to each other, trying to keep their voices down. The white-haired old man tried to suppress his panic, stubbornly sneering, clearing his throat and ordering, "Disciples, this is not your place to interfere. Step back, yes, master." The wide-brimmed hat guy was as if he had been granted amnesty, and retreated in a panic, disappearing without a trace. The white-haired old man narrowed his eyes, his gaze cold, his voice revealing a deep warning. "This fellow cultivator, do you know who I am? What I want to do? There really aren't many people in the entire eastern region who dare to stop me." Grandmaster Randang frowned slightly. The three followers were of insignificant cultivation, but this old man gave people the feeling that they couldn't see through him. His whole body seemed to be covered in a layer of hazy mist, mysterious and unpredictable. Looking at his demeanor, his background was probably not small. Just then, a tense voice rang out beside him. "Grandmaster, he is Ye Junlin, the one who destroyed the million-strong army of the Feathered Divinity sect. In that battle, even our profound Sky Temple lost many elders and disciples." Oh, Randang's eyes immediately lit up. He remembered when he had just emerged from seclusion. He had heard about this matter. He didn't expect to run into him today. It is rumored that during the banquet at the Shuxi family, even the newly ascended Earth Immortal Zhu Yang of the Feathered Divinity sect was beaten to death by Ye Junlin. With his bare hands, his cultivation was unfathomable, his strength was astonishing. At this time it was the white-haired old man's turn to have his heart pounding. This monk was actually a high monk from the Profound Sky Temple. One must know that in the great battle in Desolate Continent that year, the Profound Sky Temple had also been defeated. In just a few breaths, a giant bronze cage appeared, swallowing all the cultivators inside. Not a single gap, not a fly could escape. The outside of the bell was covered in dense golden inscriptions, shimmering with light, and from within came the faint sound of chanting, the spiritual energy filled with holiness and majesty. Everyone inside the cage looked stunned, a very ominous premonition welling up in their hearts. "Taoist friend, what is this?" The white-haired elder's face stiffened, cold sweat pouring down the back of his neck. What on earth is the meaning of this sudden action? At this moment, amidst a myriad of doubtful gazes, Grandmaster Randang, with a sorrowful expression, put his palms together and chanted a Buddhist prayer, Amitabha. Meeting again is fate. This old monk is determined to save you benefactors today, to send you to the western paradise, to enter the pure land of ultimate bliss. Amitabha. The gentle yet utterly indifferent sound of chanting echoed each word like a bronze bell striking the heart, causing all the cultivators present to feel a chill down their spines. Suddenly someone woke up with a start, trembling as they pointed. Ah, I understand now, you bald-headed bastard, you want to take revenge on us? Before they could finish speaking, someone from the Yawang Valley also shouted in anger. We were also forced. Why vent your anger on us? Wasn't it just throwing dung? You're a high monk, how can you be so narrow-minded? Great master, spare me. I promise I won't breathe a word. Shouldn't you, as a monk, take compassion as your foundation? Isn't today's behavior tarnishing the reputation of Xuankong Temple? Shouts, pleas, and resentful complaints rose like waves, echoing across the sky. Silence. A thunderous voice boomed. Grandmaster Randang's face was full of murderous intent, the veins on his forehead bulging like spiderwebs. You boundless sinners, this old monk, a crossing tribulation stage expert, was actually pelted with dung by you lot working together. How can I swallow this humiliation? Today I must save all of you, and use that to cleanse the karma you have sown. Grandmaster Randang regained his composure, his voice as deep as an ancient bell. Don't waste your efforts. Without this old monk's permission, no one can leave this place today. A young man in brocade robes stepped forward angrily. Senior, I am a prince of the Dayan dynasty. Don't you think about the consequences of your actions? An old man with a Taoist appearance raised his whisk and said in a deep voice, this old man is an elder of the Qiangkun sect. If something happens here, the sect will definitely investigate to the end. A great completion stage expert stepped forward, his eyes like lightning in anger. Even if you are highly skilled, if you insist on killing, the forces behind us will never let your Xuankong Temple off the hook. That's right, the crowd echoed, trying to use their influence to intimidate him. Boom. A golden palm appeared in the void, slapping down like a mountain collapsing, and the sky falling. You're crazy. This old monk remembers. You also contributed at the time, Grandmaster Randang said calmly, then squeezed hard. Bang! The white-haired old man among the crowd silently cursed. He had originally planned to seize resources this time and then retreat into secluded cultivation for 100 years, but he never expected things to come to this point. Looking around, his comrades all showed pleading looks, clearly placing all their hopes on him. The old man sighed inwardly, knowing that he had to rely on himself again this time. His face darkened, and his voice sounded deep. Taoist friend, do you even want to kill me? Benefactor Ye, this old monk has always respected you, but today there is one matter I hope Benefactor can consider helping. Ye Junlin narrowed his eyes. What matter? Randang clasped his hands and slowly said, you have talent, this old monk has life. I hope Benefactor Ye will stand up and bear the reputation of today for me. This old monk is extremely grateful. Randang waited silently. As long as Ye Junlin nodded, he would bear all the consequences for Xuankong Temple. Just then, Ye Junlin clasped his hands, laughed heartily, his voice as loud as a bronze bell. Taoist friend, rest assured and do it. Ye Junlin is willing to bear all the consequences. Overion. As soon as these words fell, the entire place immediately erupted like a boiling pot. Shocked, a commotion arose. White-haired old devil, you won't die peacefully. Ye Junlin, I curse your ancestors for 8 generations, not to mention robbing us before, now colluding with this bald-headed swindler. Are you even human? Curses came like a tidal wave, covering the sky and the earth, and Miao Yi stomped her feet angrily, her eyes wide. Uncle Farron, Ye Junlin is really crazy, he's no longer human. Farron de Zhang's face changed drastically, and he tremblingly pulled her back. Little C, keep your voice down, be careful, he hears you. Amitabha, this old monk will begin the salvation. Grandmaster Randang put his palms together in front of his chest, chanting the Buddha's name, his whole body radiating golden light as bright as the midday sun. A golden lotus flower appeared in the middle of the sky, its dazzling light covering everywhere. Many people began to feel headaches, and a surge of intense panic rose in their hearts. No, the air became suffocating, and despair enveloped the scene. Master, according to your instructions, I have clearly recorded the entire process, Li Wuji reported in a deep voice. Good, Ye Junlin laughed coldly. It's not in vain that I waited patiently until this moment. With evidence in hand, this time we must crush Xuankong Temple. I want to see what else these hypocrites with mouths full of compassion can say. Rumble. A streak of light tore through the sky and the earth. Ye Junlin's figure rushed forward like a shooting star, and the aura of the crossing tribulation stage suddenly burst out, shaking the entire sky. He raised his hand, and with 2 fingers pointed forward, the golden lotus flower in the sky instantly exploded into pieces. AI. Grandmaster Randang was shocked and dismayed. A storm surged in his heart. There was actually another crossing tribulation stage expert on the scene. In the sky, the figure of a young man in a black robe stood with his hands clasped behind his back, his long white hair fluttering in the wind, his sword-like eyebrows raised, his eyes as bright as stars. His appearance was handsome, and his demeanor was like a celestial being. Just standing there made the sky and the earth dim in comparison. Ye Junlin of the Swantian sect, a sentence rang out like a bronze bell, shaking the entire scene, echoing endlessly. What? He said he's Ye Junlin. All the cultivators were stunned on the spot, their minds blank. Isn't he from the Yawang Valley? But the aura is too strong, and he has white hair like snow. Plus the black robe, it's probably him for real. Then you were just impersonating just now, swish, swish, swish. Countless angry eyes swept over in unison, locking onto the white-haired old man who was stiffening. The old man's eyes were bulging, as if they were about to fall out. His mouth was wide open enough to swallow an egg, and his body was trembling like a leaf in the winter wind. He had been immersed in the role for too long. Who knew that the real person would appear in front of him, secretly observing from beginning to end? Too embarrassing. What to do now? The veiled men had completely fallen into panic, so scared that their limbs were limp. They were just small fish in the sea of cultivation, and before they had relied on the trick of impersonating Ye Junlin to scare the world, now that they were exposed, they immediately revealed their true form, with nowhere to hide. Young Master Ye, it really is Ye Junlin. An Miao Yi stammered, as if struck by lightning, her mind dizzy. When she clearly saw that handsome face, the memories of the encounter at the Longman Inn resurfaced. Thinking of the words she had said, her face was flushed red as blood, and her heart was pounding wildly. From the beginning, I felt that he was no ordinary person, and this feeling became even stronger when I went to the Yaowang Valley. Fan Dezheng's face was full of awe, and he sighed softly. As expected, he is just like in the legends, the divine dragon revolving in the 9 heavens. How can we ants dare to dream of touching him? An Miaoyi's cheeks flushed red, and she resentfully blamed, Uncle Fan, so you knew long ago. Why didn't you remind me, making me look like a fool in front of young Master Ye? Fan Dezheng smiled wryly and did not answer, only shook his head helplessly. I did remind you. But you didn't listen. How can you blame others? At this moment, Grandmaster Randang was stunned in place. His eyes shifted to the silver-haired old man who was bowing his head to avoid him, his expression flustered. You! Randang also saw that this person was clearly an imposter. He never expected that he had called him brother just now, who knew that he was just a fake. Grandmaster Randang smiled on the surface but hated him to the bone, staring at the white-haired old man, hissing through his teeth, Amitabha benefactor, you are playing too much. The old man was sweating all over, not daring to look him straight in the eye. At this moment, Grandmaster Randang's gaze suddenly swept towards another figure, his eyes shooting out a cold light like knives as he coldly said, You rebellious scoundrel from Yaowang Valley dares to oppose this old monk. I originally planned to kill you all and seize the undying chaos ancient root after leaving, but who knew you would actually be Ye Junlin? No wonder you're so capable. Ye Junlin curled his lips and smiled faintly. Old Baldy, the whole act you put on earlier was already recorded by my disciple, using an image recording magic artifact. If I release it to the world, how do you think people will treat Xuankong Temple? Grandmaster Randang was so enraged that he laughed. As long as I kill you and wipe out this place, who can prove it was me? I can even frame you instead. Ye Junlin remained unhurried. Oh, so you're really that confident in your strength. Haha. 10,000 years ago, when I dominated the eastern region, I never even heard your name from Yaowang Valley. Because my cultivation realm was suppressed, I couldn't unleash my full power, and even my Vajra indestructible body couldn't display its true might. But now, boom, Grandmaster Randang's aura erupted like a flood, his white eyebrows fluttered, and his body was like divine glazed gold, glittering with holy light, filled with an aura of unstoppable dominance. On his body, faint golden Sanskrit characters appeared, like a layer of shining Dharma armor around him. Just looking at it made people tremble. How strong was this defense, really? Evil spawn, prepare to die. With a shout as loud as a bell, Randang raised his hand to strike, his palm condensed with golden light, revealing the character Wan Dai Sheng, Eternal Saint. Its radiant Buddha light covered the entire heaven and earth. Previously, he only sensed that Ye Junlin's aura was at the mid-stage of tribulation transcendence, while he himself was at the peak stage. Instantly, absolute confidence arose in his heart. Ye Junlin was nothing more than this. Destroying him would be as easy as flipping his hand. Li Wuji clenched his fists and said in a low voice, This old baldy is at the peak of tribulation transcendence. I'm afraid Master is in danger this time. Hong Tianye glanced at him and sneered, judging by his intuition that this guy definitely had preparations hidden. How could someone who could repeatedly break the rules of immortals be so simple? In everyone's sight, the golden light of the Wan character covered the sky and earth, and the light of the Buddhist sect enveloped like a waterfall. Sacred and majestic. Ye Junlin smiled slightly. This was the moment he had been waiting for. Ding! Detected that the host is being attacked by an enemy at the peak of Tribulation Transcendence realm. Activating the passive effect, stronger when facing the strong. Host has obtained the cultivation of Tribulation Transcendence completion. At that instant, boom! Ye Junlin's entire body's aura shook violently, directly breaking through from the mid-stage to Tribulation Transcendence completion, only half a step away from entering the true immortal realm. That aura was even stronger than Grandmaster Randang's by several notches. Randang's face, which had been smug just moments ago, turned as pale as a sheet of paper, his eyes filled with extreme shock, his lips trembling as if he couldn't believe what he had just witnessed. You, how is this possible? Hey. Ye Junlin laughed coldly, and suddenly unleashed a palm strike. The palm imprint tore through the void, carrying an aura as if it wanted to shatter the 9 heavens. Oomph. The golden wand character shattered into countless fragments. The rebounding force was like a tsunami, slamming into Grandmaster Randang's arm, causing his sleeves to crackle, as if they were about to tear apart. Oh, Grandmaster Randang staggered back several dozen zang, placing one hand behind his back, slightly trembling, while the other hand was raised in front of his chest, his old face tense, his eyes solemn. I truly underestimated you, he said in a deep voice, his heart heavy. This guy had clearly reached the realm of tribulation transcendence completion, yet he deliberately concealed it, just waiting for the opportunity to strike. Truly a big fish waiting for its prey to come. Ye Junlin flicked his fingers and asked nonchalantly, So how do you want to die? From the mid-stage of tribulation transcendence, he broke through to completion in an instant. That distance might take others 10,000 years of arduous cultivation, but for him, it only required an opportunity. So as a form of repayment, he generously allowed this old baldy to choose his own way to die. Grandmaster Randang gritted his teeth in anger. Ye Junlin, this old monk admits you're powerful, but don't think you can make me obediently accept death. Once you've entered the realm of tribulation transcendence, your life force is no longer a mundane matter. Even if only a drop of blood or a piece of flesh remains, you can still regenerate. Moreover, I cultivate Buddhist sect's supreme techniques, and I have the Vajra indestructible body protecting me. Killing me won't be easy. So in his eyes, Ye Junlin was merely trying to humiliate him. Seeing this, Ye Junlin shook his head and said indifferently, I gave you a chance, but you didn't know how to cherish it. In that case, you don't have the right to choose how you die either. Evil spawn. Grandmaster Randang roared in anger, his hands forming incantations, gathering power above his head. A resounding dragon's roar shook the heavens and the earth. The wind and clouds changed color. A phantom of a celestial dragon condensed into form. Its huge body writhed in the air, radiating shocking power. Its eyes were like the sun and moon, and boundless dragon might descended in all directions. A second later, the white dragon bared its fangs and brandished its claws, diving down from the sky, oppressing like a heavenly tribulation descending. But Ye Junlin smiled lightly, and reached out his hand gently. You want to become a dragon, with just a little eel's strength. Boom. From the void, a giant, bright white hand appeared. That hand was jade white like snow, with mysterious patterns swirling around it, containing the power to destroy the heavens and extinguish the earth. The hand of the Supreme Celestial was one of the ultimate techniques of the Supreme Bone. Roar! The celestial dragon roared, struggling and writhing, but under everyone's horrified gaze. It was grabbed tightly by that hand and crushed like squashing an insect. Extinguish! Ye Junlin shouted softly. The white hand flashed with dazzling divine might, directly crushing the celestial dragon's head, decisively and cleanly, without dragging things out. What? Grandmaster Randang's eyes widened in disbelief. The Great Might Celestial Dragon was one of Xuankong Temple's signature techniques, yet it was destroyed in just one move. The white hand continued to descend, carrying overwhelming pressure. Grandmaster Randang dared not delay, his hands hastily forming incantations, his mouth chanting spells. An ancient bronze lamp flew out from the top of his head, its golden light flickering, its aura mysterious and elusive. Buzz, buzz, buzz. As the lamp appeared, the aura on Grandmaster Randang's body instantly surged. He stood upright like a statue of a Buddha, divinely inviolable. He raised both hands to meet the attack, attempting to resist the hand of the Supreme Celestial, but boom! His entire body was slammed from the sky to the ground by the white hand. The earth trembled, dust flew everywhere, and rocks and stones splattered. A moment later, amidst the chaotic space, Grandmaster Randang's figure slowly appeared, but at this time he was extremely disheveled, blood trickling from the corners of his mouth, the protective radiance around him dim, and the bronze lamp above his head also seemed to be on the verge of being extinguished. Ye Junlin chuckled, clapping his hands lightly. Not bad, you old geezer. Anyone who can survive the hand of Shangkang must have some tricks up their sleeve. But Great Master Randang felt a chill to the bone, because that was already his strongest defense. If that strike had been even a little stronger, his body would have been crushed. Great Master Randang suddenly raised his hand and channeled his power through the air. Before the Chan cultivators from Xuankong Temple could react, the storage pouches at their waist started to tremble, turning into afterimages as they flew towards him. I obtained those precious medicines from Medicine King Valley for this very battle, he roared. With a surge of his powerful magic, the spirit herbs were instantly refined. The essence of the medicinal power poured into his limbs, and his whole body radiated a brilliant golden light. His aura gradually rose, and his old eyes flashed with a sharp, cold light. Ye Junlin, don't get cocky just yet. This battle has only just begun. His voice was icy, and killing intent spread, but Ye Junlin simply shook his head lightly. No, it's time for it to end. Great Master Randang's expression darkened. What do you mean? Your defense is strong, I'll admit, but what will you use to withstand this move? Ye Junlin raised his hand in the middle of the heavens and earth, slowly forming an ancient fist posture. In that instant, a dazzling golden halo appeared behind him, swirling with suns, moons, stars, and galaxies. The myriad phenomena of heaven and earth flickered, and a figure like a war god stood tall, invincible, and unmatched. The wind howled, the clouds churned, thunder rumbled, and lightning flashed, as if the entire world was trembling before the might of that fist. Great Master Randang's forehead dripped with cold sweat, and his eyes showed fear. That fist technique, it's you. You think I forgot the fist you used in Medicine King Valley so soon? Ye Junlin smiled slightly, his body adorned with a divine golden halo, his silver hair flying, and his pupils shining like stars. The power of his fist gathered like a primordial cataclysm, locking onto Randang's figure with endless killing intent. The old monk forced himself to remain calm, feigning composure, I remember it, but it was just a harmless punch. Are you planning to repeat the same old trick? Even as he said that, he was secretly channeling all his power, preparing to meet the attack. Ye Junlin curled his lips into a cold smile. Then watch closely. Boom. The saintly fighting fist was unleashed. In that instant, all the words in the world became meaningless. Randang's pupils contracted, reflecting the collapse of heaven and earth, the inversion of yin and yang, the disintegration of galaxies, and the extinction of the sun and moon. The golden fist imprint carried the power of destruction, like a collapsing planet crashing down upon the world. HMPH. Just a show of force, Great Master Randang shouted, his hands clasped together, his golden body standing tall like Mount Tai, meeting the fist without the slightest evasion. He believed that if he could block it in Medicine King Valley, he could do it again today. Boom! A huge ball of light exploded in the sky, like the sun erupting in broad daylight. The brilliant light made countless people afraid to open their eyes. Amidst the deafening roar, Great Master Randang spat out a mouthful of blood. His body was struck by lightning, his expression extremely pained, his eyes full of terror. How could this fist be so terrifying, he staggered, his whole body trembling. Die, Ye Junlin roared, the saintly fighting fist crushing mountains as it struck down fiercely. Great Master Randang let out a groan of agony, his entire body like snow meeting fire, his flesh and blood evaporating at an unimaginable rate. His former arrogance, his protective magic items, his body protecting divine abilities, all turned to ashes in that one fist. When the light faded, the world returned to silence, and the dust gradually settled. Many cultivators opened their eyes, looking ahead with suspicion and uncertainty. They saw a silver-haired figure standing with his hands clasped behind his back, his silhouette as unyielding as an immortal god. Randang had completely vanished from this world. In that instant, the entire place fell silent. After what felt like forever, cultivators gradually began to react, and cheers erupted like a tidal wave. We're saved? Oh my god? Who dared to slander Senior Ye as a villain before? It was obviously just nonsense rumors. From today onwards, if anyone dares to speak ill of Senior Ye, I'll risk my life to kill them all without mercy. Thank you, Senior Ye, for your help, wiping out the evil monk so fast. Did everyone just swallow their saliva at the same time? Bai Ye Junlin instantly blocked the path of those imposters. He clicked his tongue and chuckled. Using my name to make a profit, and now you want to run? How dare you? The ones who were still holding on to hope just now, upon seeing Zhu Feng blocking their way, instantly crumbled. Senior Ye, spare us. We were foolish, blinded by greed for a moment. Please don't hold it against us small fries. It was him? He masterminded everything? The wide-hatted guy frantically pushed the blame onto the white-haired old man? That's right, it was all instigated by this old fart. The white-haired old man trembled with rage, gritting his teeth and yelling, Senior Ye, I admit I was greedy and did something stupid, but I couldn't have done it alone. Please, give a fair judgment. The old man still wants to drag others down with him? You have no conscience? The wide-hatted guy angrily cursed, woo-woo. If I knew it would be like this, I wouldn't have listened to you. I was doing so well at Phoenix Spring Brothel before. Me too. I used to be a spirit herb farmer, growing hundreds of spirit grains. Only because of a moment of greed did I stray from the path. If I could go back, I would definitely work hard at farming. Ye Junlin shook his head, his eyes devoid of any sympathy. These guys really have guts as big as the sky. When they weren't exposed, they were all so smug. Now that they're exposed, they're crying and begging. Just as he was about to open his mouth to punish them, Fan Dezheng rushed forward, grabbed the wide-hatted guy by the collar, and roared, Shameless bastard, daring to swindle me out of 5 million top-grade spirit stones. Spit it out now. Being suppressed by the pressure of a great ascension cultivator, the wide-hatted guy's face turned pale, and he stammered, Senior, I'll pay. The money is all on me. We can negotiate, but what about us? Return the spirit stones, magical artifacts, talismans, and me. A group of angry cultivators surged forward, their faces filled with murderous intent, surrounding them like a forest of swords and spears. The white-haired old man was covered in sweat. Ye Junlin saw this and nodded slightly. In this cultivation world where the big fish eat the small fish, they were destined to die without a complete corpse. No need for him to take action. Li Wuji originally intended to strike and kill, but upon closer inspection, the opponents were just a few weaklings, unworthy of dying by his blade, only snorting coldly before stepping back behind his master. Hong Tianyé's face was as cold as ice. In his eyes, a woman with big boobs but no brains was not worth his time. He simply turned around and left. Miss Anne, what are you staring at in a daze? Ye Junlin smiled and asked. An Miao Yi regained her senses, put her hands on her hips, and said angrily, Ye Gongzi, you deceived me. All my trust in you was wasted. Ye Junlin shrugged and chuckled. I didn't expect your mind to be so simple, only realizing it now. Are you calling me stupid? An Miao Yi pouted, her eyebrows furrowed. No, that's called the heart of a child. You have this quality, your path of cultivation will definitely be smooth, Miss Anne. I think highly of you. Ye Junlin smiled sincerely. An Miao Yi was stunned, her eyes shimmering like autumn water, reflecting a pure and innocent light, and asked naively, Really? You're not lying to me, are you? I never lie to people. Let me tell you, don't think you're invincible. I will definitely surpass you in the future. An Miao Yi raised her chin, her face filled with pride and soaring confidence. Ye Junlin laughed. Then work hard, I'll be waiting for you. After saying that, he waved his hand gently, summoning the Kunpeng. Boom. An explosion echoed through the 9 heavens. The spiritual peaks shifted, the clouds shattered, and a giant beast slowly descended. Bearing an ancient aura, the Kunpeng descended from the sky, shaking the heavens. Its eyes were sharp, its roar echoed through the void, and its aura was incomparably domineering. It's Senior Ye's mount. Oh my god, it's real. It's the legendary divine beast Kunpeng. The scene instantly boiled over, countless eyes were shaken, and exclamations never stopped. Ye Junlin clasped his hands and smiled. Miss An, see you again. Looking at the back of the white-clothed youth, his silver hair fluttering in the wind, An Miaoyi's cheeks flushed slightly, and her lips pursed. We'll meet again if fate allows. Ye Junlin nodded, turned around and walked away. He and the others lightly soared onto the Kunpeng. Poof! Amidst countless shocked gazes, the Kunpeng soared through the void, transforming into a streak of light 90,000 miles long, disappearing into the distant horizon. Farewell, Senior Ye. The entire crowd clasped their hands, bowed respectfully, and their solemn voices resonated throughout the heavens and earth. Everyone listened. When they returned, they must spread the truth, dispel all false rumors, and protect Senior Ye's reputation. On the vast back of the Kunpeng, mist and clouds covered it. Pavilions and towers were reflected in the murmuring streams. Small bridges meandered. Lush vegetation, interspersed with artificial mountains, like a fairy tale village floating in the air. The great demon king had just landed, and his soul was already dazed, as if he had strayed into a paradise beyond the world. At this moment, Ye Junlin's expression turned serious, and his gentle voice sounded, Today we have a new junior brother joining the sect. Let's all clap to welcome him. The sound of applause rang out crisply. Li Wuji seriously carried it out. Bai Xiaoxi jumped and clapped non-stop, while Hong Tianye perfunctorily waved his hand a few times just for show. The great demon king was a little embarrassed, his face flushed red. Thank you, senior brothers and sisters. Ye Junlin chuckled and patted Hong Tianye's shoulder. Xiao Hei, this is senior brother Hong Tianye. This person is exceptionally enthusiastic. If you have any doubts about cultivation, just ask him. Hong Tianye's body trembled slightly, squeezed out a smile that was uglier than crying, and said stiffly, Shizun, master is right. If fourth junior brother has anything unclear, just come and find me. The great demon king was startled. What? This is a man, but I have never seen such a beautiful human being in 10,000 years. Did the two of us misjudge? Afterwards, Ye Junlin didn't say much, waved his sleeve and slumped onto the lounge chair. Xiao Bai, come and massage Shifu's shoulders, try out your skills. Hong Tianye secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Just as he passed by the great demon king, the corner of his eyes glanced slightly, with a deep meaning, boom! In that instant, the great demon king only felt a flash of greedy fire in the other party's eyes like a wild beast. His mind was shaken, and he involuntarily took a few steps back. Was he trying to eat me just now? But Hong Tianye had already settled down under the shade of the phoenix tree, closed his eyes in meditation, his expression calm, as if nothing had happened, but in his heart he had already made a prediction. This Xiao He is a living elixir that Yi Junlin deliberately kept, just waiting for the day to harvest and refine it. This kind of thing is not uncommon in the demonic path. The most famous is the blood demon Shi Tianju, teaching the gongfa, cultivation technique, waiting for the other party to succeed, and then turning around to devour them, strengthening himself. Yi Junlin's schemes are too deep. If it were me, I would have refined and swallowed him whole long ago. How could I keep him by my side and cultivate him? Hong Tianye thought to himself. Meanwhile, the great devil king was in turmoil, wanting to report to his master but lacked evidence. He was genuinely scared of being devoured, but if he spoke up, he feared being seen as paranoid and causing trouble. Just then, he noticed a middle-aged man squatting quietly in the corner of the courtyard, his back to him, seemingly doing something shady. It was his third senior brother, Li Wuji. During the introductions, the great devil king had felt that this senior brother was friendly. He sincerely greeted his third senior brother. "What are you doing, Shixiong?" Li Wuji froze, slowly turned his head, still chewing on a spirit herb in his mouth. The great devil king was struck by lightning, his third senior brother eating my kind. Caught red-handed, Li Wuji felt a bit guilty, offering half of the chewed herb. "Ah, Shidi want a bite." In the great devil king's eyes, this was no different than eating his own kind alive. "Aya, fourth Shidi, don't mind it, your Shixiong didn't mean to." Li Wuji forced a smile, then shoved the rest into his mouth, crunching loudly, and even nodded with a friendly smile. The great devil king felt he was more terrifying than a hellish demonic cultivator. He almost lost his soul and scattered, leaping up like a spring, diving straight into the forest. "I think I messed up," Li Wuji muttered awkwardly with a bitter smile. At this moment, Ye Junlin was dozing off, enjoying the small hands of Shushu giving him a massage, when suddenly his expression shifted slightly, as if remembering something. He flipped his hand, taking out a large jade ceramic jar from his storage space, ancient patterns flickering with faint spiritual light. Bai Xiaoxi sniffed her nose, her eyes shining, her face full of intoxication. "Shizun, it smells so good." "Xiao Bai's family, come here, today I will teach you a great Dao technique." Bai Xiaoxi immediately sat down seriously, her eyes sparkling, waiting to hear the supreme secret technique called tea-making. The two masters and disciples began to get busy, one seriously rinsing the pot and washing the cups, the other carefully controlling the fire and boiling the water, each movement unhurried, no different than refining qi or concocting pills. When the tea was poured out, the color of jade flowed, and the fragrance gently spread throughout the small courtyard with the breeze. Far away, under the shade of the parasol tree, Hong Tianye was sitting in meditation, when suddenly his eyebrows furrowed, and he immediately opened his eyes, a look of surprise appearing in his pupils. This fragrance, impossible. He was like a red gust of wind, instantly appearing in front of the tea table. Just in time to see Ye Junlin lifting a teacup. Hong Tianye's expression was serious, his voice slightly trembling. "Could this be enlightenment tea?" Ye Junlin replied unhurriedly. "Yes, it is." A word of confirmation made Hong Tianye feel as if struck by lightning, his whole body numbing, his eyes sparkling as if about to cry. "It's real, is it real?" This kind of tea is a rare treasure in the central region, regarded as a supreme guiding product. Even a bud is enough to make the great sex fight to the death. Years ago, he was fortunate enough to drink a sip due to chance, and he would never dare forget it in his life. And now Shizun is brewing an entire pot. Ye Junlin waved his hand, poured another cup, and placed it in front of him. Here, this filial disciple is rewarded with a cup. "Ah, thank you, Shizun, for the tea." Hong Tianye raised the cup with trembling hands, gently sipping a mouthful. A second later, his eyes widened, his whole body shaking. His mind seemed to be opened up. The great Dapio was like a dream, appearing before his eyes in strands. Boom! A surging aura erupted. Hong Tianye's cultivation skyrocketed. The great perfection stage broke through to the early stage of the tribulation transcendence realm, then continued to the middle stage, late stage, peak. Whoosh! His black hair flew like a waterfall. His scarlet robe fluttered like sunset clouds. His exquisite features were like sculptures. His skin was as white as snow, and his graceful collarbone outlined a demonic and seductive figure. A bright red flame mark shone between his brows, and his pupils turned into bloodlight like a demon god descending. "What the hell is this?" Li Wuji ran over from afar, his jaw dropping at the scene before him. "Just now, you, great senior brother, were only at the great perfection stage, but you directly increased to the peak of the tribulation transcendence realm. Was it really necessary to rush like that?" Hong Tianye felt a force surging within his body like raging waves, rolling endlessly, as if he could shatter the sky and split the earth with a slight lift of his hand. A surge of mad confidence surged in his chest, and the corners of his mouth turned up maniacally. He raised his head and laughed loudly. "Haha, if I continue to cultivate like this, wouldn't becoming an immortal be within reach? I am invincible." "What the FCK are you laughing at, Smack?" A hand from behind slapped the back of his head like the heavens descending, shattering his demonic laughter. Hong Tianye's anger flared up, and he turned his head sharply, his eyes full of murderous intent. "You!" But as soon as he made eye contact, he saw Ye Junlin standing there as elegant as usual, a smile on his lips that was not quite a smile. "If you have any opinions, speak them out." Their eyes met for a moment, and Hong Tianye shuddered all over, a vague and terrifying scene flashing in his mind. The old monk who was blasted into pieces with a single punch before his soul could gather, and the one who made the move was the man in front of him. The murderous intent immediately vanished, and he quickly knelt on one knee, clasping his hands, his voice trembling. "This disciple was reckless and impulsive. Please forgive me, Shizun." Daring to provoke this person was no different from jumping into a boiling pot. The thorough lesson he received at Xuantian Sect back then was still deeply engraved in his heart. This person not only had unfathomable strength, but his long yi was also profound and unpredictable, cunning to the extreme. Now that he had reached the peak of tribulation transcendence, only one small step away from becoming an immortal, how could he be so foolish as to lose his life here? Endure. Must endure. Ye Junlin casually lowered his hand, his mouth leisurely. "Get up, remember to be more careful in the future." "Understood." Hong Tianye breathed a sigh of relief, slowly stood up, his heart still trembling with lingering fear. Ye Junlin waved his hand and called out, Disciples, what are you still standing there for? Come here and taste it. All 4 disciples quickly gathered, each holding a cup of tea in their hands, the aroma of tea lingering, rich in all directions, making their minds feel light and dreamy. This disciple thanked Shizun for bestowing tea. Shizun, Hong Tianye hesitated slightly, then carefully asked, Enlightenment tea leaves, how much do you still have? He did not forget. Just 1 cup had elevated his mind and allowed his cultivation to break through continuously to the peak of tribulation transcendence. If he could store away a few more portions, here it is. Ye Junlin casually lifted a large tea jar, and as soon as Hong Tianye saw the tea jar, his whole body stiffened, his hands trembling, his eyes widening as if about to fall out. A jar full of enlightenment tea leaves, not just a few handfuls, but an entire jar. This kind of thing could lead to slaughter in the central region with just a handful, yet Shizun was holding a large jar of tea. If he threw this into the central region, it would definitely cause the major immortal sects to launch a war, blood would flow like rivers, and the earth and sky would be dyed red. Ye Junlin frowned, looking at the absent-minded appearance of his disciple. What's wrong? Are you worried there won't be enough tea to drink? If you want to drink, just help yourself. Really? Thank you, Shizun. Li Wuji and Bai Xiaoxi raised their teacups high as if receiving holy water, and without hesitation, gulped them down in one breath. At that moment, as soon as the tea touched their throats, their whole bodies trembled. Their qi and blood boiled, and they felt as if they were being cleansed from the roots. In a moment of enlightenment, Li Wuji suddenly crossed the boundary of the Great Perfection Peak, forcefully breaking through to the early stage of the Tribulation Transcendence realm. His aura surged around him, and his sharp sword intent soared to the sky like a treasured sword drawn from its sheath, making it impossible to look directly at him. Beside him, a powerful aura erupted from Bai Xiaoxi, her cultivation advancing directly to the late stage of the Tribulation Transcendence realm. Her snow-white skin was like jade, her temperament was ethereal and otherworldly. Her eyes were like gemstones, but her face was the bewildered expression of a little mouse who didn't understand anything. What just happened to Shu Shu? Turning to look at Ye Junlin, she exclaimed like a child being given candy, Shizun, this tea is really delicious. Li Wuji stared with wide eyes, a hint of bitterness flashing in his heart. He thought his breakthrough was amazing, but who knew he was still left behind. Fourth Shicidi, drink it quickly, it can help you gain enlightenment and improve yourself. The great Devil King raised his teacup with both hands, thinking to himself, my senior brothers are all improving so much, but who knows if it'll work on us demon folks. After a bit of hesitation, the great Demon King finally downed the whole cup of tea in one go. The tea was instantly absorbed, and his cultivation base skyrocketed. Qi refining, foundation establishment, nascent soul, transformation, fusion. He blew through them like climbing stairs, straight to great perfection. Being a rare breed and cultivating the Azure Emperor longevity art, plus this top-grade Dao tea, the great Demon King's breakthrough was like snapping twigs. Li Wuji muttered from the side. Good thing fourth bro's breakthrough was at least a little less insane. Makes me look a little less pathetic as the senior bro. Feeling the surging power within him, the great Demon King couldn't help but tremble. What is this? With his cautious nature, he wasn't pleased at all. Instead, he was terrified, shaking like a leaf. Ye Junlin quietly frowned. Why are you all breaking through? He pondered, looking at the tea in his hand. Should I drink it too? Why isn't anything happening? Is my comprehension that bad? Unable to figure it out, he just sighed, shrugging. Whatever. I didn't need to cultivate anyway. Right then, a ding sounded in his head. Ding! Seeing as the host's disciples are breaking through at lightning speed, congratulations to the host for achieving the renowned teacher accomplishment. Activating a new quest. Question Xuankong Temple. Please proceed to Buddha Province to check in and complete the quest, and receive amazing rewards. Shaoli. Do you still have the shadow ball? Ye Junlin asked. Don't worry, Shizun. I'm keeping it safe. Li Wuji patted his chest, guaranteeing it. Then prepare to head to Xuankong Temple. I want to personally go there and demand an explanation. As soon as he said that, all the disciples were stunned. Then a storm brewed in their hearts. Xuankong Temple was a holy land of Zen cultivation, one of the top 10 immortal sects, ranked in the top 5 in the entire eastern region. Shizun was actually planning to barge in and demand answers. Wasn't this going to cause an earthquake? Even Hong Tianye, who never had much fondness for those monks, got excited instantly. Scene changed to Wu City, Yushan Nation, where a strange occurrence was unfolding. Zen cultivators in yellow robes, with strong physiques, were openly robbing, killing, and setting fires in a city. The local soldiers tried to stop them, but were beaten to death on the spot. Even the young, beautiful women couldn't escape their demonic clutches. Mommy, a child of about 6 years old, was grabbed by a burly monk. His mother knelt on the ground, tears like rain, begging for mercy. Namo Amitabha. The leader, a tall monk with a string of skulls around his neck and a scarred, fierce face, put his hands together and chanted a Buddhist prayer, his expression seemingly compassionate. At that moment, a sword light pierced the sky, carrying a chilling, killing intent. It slashed straight towards the monk. A group of elite soldiers rushed forward. Demonic monks of Xuankong Mountain, you have a lot of nerve. This is the territory of Yushan. How can we let you run rampant? City Lord Murong roared in anger, his sword energy shooting straight into the sky. Rumble, the tall monk opened his eyes, a brilliant bang. City Lord Murong was sent flying, his body crashing through several rows of buildings, tumbling into the ruins, raising a cloud of dust. He knelt down, vomiting fresh blood mixed with shattered organs. You, Yang. Murong Hai gritted his teeth, his eyes filled with anger and resentment, unable to believe that the usually honest and open man had stabbed him in the back. Swish. 2 figures landed in front of him. Amitabha, Murong Shizu. You look rather surprised. The middle-aged monk clasped his hands, smiling sarcastically. Murong Hai, Commander Yang removed his fake mask, smiling faintly. You dare oppose Xuankong Mountain, you're asking for trouble. You colluded with the demon monk to kill the city lord. If the imperial court investigates, you won't escape implication either. Murong Hai roared angrily. Ha ha, how naive, Commander Yang burst out laughing. You think the imperial court doesn't know? Yue Shan Nation has long been infiltrated by Xuankong Mountain, even the ruler has to turn a blind eye. You, a guy who only knows how to wave a sword, dare to dream of acting on behalf of heaven. He paused, narrowing his eyes. Want to know why several generations of city lords have died mysteriously? It's because they didn't know their place and were dealt with by me in collusion with Xuankong Mountain. To this day, the imperial court still hasn't found me out, guess why? Hearing this, Murong Hai felt a chill run down his spine. So it was all arranged, and he was just a sacrificial pawn. You, Murong, the middle-aged monk sneered. You were warned, yet you still opposed Xuankong Mountain, and even dared to curse the mountain lord. For this alone, you die without injustice. Murong Hai drew his longsword, murderous intent seething. Old thief. I will die with you. The middle-aged monk sneered. Want to die? At the moment he was about to end his life, the sky suddenly shook. A thunderous roar, as if tearing through the clouds. Murderous aura filling the sky. A surging pressure poured down from the void. Then a colossal creature appeared, swooping up from afar, its whole body like a giant whale, its huge wings covering the sky, whipping up a storm as it came. A roar echoed through the 9 heavens, piercing the clouds and shaking the earth, slamming directly into the minds of every living being beneath. It's a tribulation transcendence realm, supreme great demon. The middle-aged monk and Commander Yang both paled, their bodies shivering as if plunged into ice. They knew that it was the void immortal realm. One step into tribulation transcendence was enough to stand shoulder to shoulder with the sun and moon, with heaven-defying divine powers. And that great demon, if it wanted to, could swallow the entire Yushan nation with a single breath. City Lord Murong's expression changed drastically, his eyes suddenly flashing with extreme shock. Could it be a Kun Peng? Legend has it that there was a divine beast in the ancient Kunlun realm, the king of the demon race, called Kun Peng, who had long since disappeared. But now it is actually appearing right above them. Suddenly, a lazy voice filled with boundless killing intent echoed from the Kun Peng's back. A Kun, swallow those little fire starters down there for me. The entire scene was as if struck by lightning. A tribulation transcendence realm. Kun Peng is someone else's mount. A void immortal level mount. What level is that? Only to see the Kun Peng open its mouth like an abyss, immediately sucking up the monks below. Strangely, all the ordinary people were not affected at all. Only the yellow-robed demon monks were sucked straight into the sky. Spare me, senior, spare me! The middle-aged monk screamed in panic, his body being sucked up like a straw, struggling uselessly, no matter how hard he tried. In the shocked eyes of the people, all the demon monks were swallowed into the Kun Peng's belly, leaving not a trace of ashes. Commander Yang's whole body was frozen, his blood congealed, his mind trembling like never before. City Lord Murong swallowed hard, his heart filled with only one thought. This scene is unforgettable for a lifetime. Immediately afterwards, Ye Junlin and his 4 disciples descended in front of City Lord Murong. Ye Junlin opened his mouth and said, "What the hell is going on here? What kind of donkey is daring to openly burn, kill, and loot?" City Lord Murong immediately knelt down, trembling. "Sina, senior, this humble one is the city lord of Wu City, part of Yueshan Nation. Those demon monks just now were subordinates of Xuankong Mountain. This time, they came to forcibly steal 800 young boys and girls for the mountain lord to enjoy." Ye Junlin frowned slightly. Xuankong Mountain. Could this name be related to Xuankong Temple? "Reporting to you, senior." City Lord Murong seized the opportunity, quickly explaining. Xuankong Mountain was established 200 years ago in the far west. Outwardly it is a Buddhist sect, but in reality it is a den of monsters. The mountain lord is a black bear demon, with 4 great Vajras under his command, all of them demon races, leading more than 40,000 lesser demons. He also calls on wanted criminals, establishing a lay down the butcher knife, become a Buddha on the spot scheme, attracting evil cultivators and demons from all directions to join. In recent years, Xuankong Mountain has become even more arrogant, plundering young boys and girls from all 36 nations, and even Yueshan Nation cannot escape the disaster. Li Wuji turned purple with anger upon hearing this. Bastard, still willing to sell their lives for beasts, they are worse than animals. Ye Junlin's eyes darkened, his tone cold. Do the 36 nations just let Xuankong Mountain run rampant like this? Does no one think of joining forces to resist? City Lord Murong smiled bitterly. Senior, guess what? That black bear demon established Xuankong Mountain because he has a backer. His background is not simple. Rumor has it that the black bear demon was once enlightened by the abbot of Xuankong Temple, listening to Buddhist teachings and being supported by incense offerings, but later, for some unknown reason, he secretly left and established his own mountain gate. Since then, countless young boys and girls have been harmed because of him. It's a shame that the countries know, but they all fear the background behind Black Bear Star, so they have to bow their heads and suppress their anger. In the past, several national leaders sent envoys to the central region, wanting to invite Abbot Xuankong of Xuankong Temple to take back his rebellious disciple, but all of them went and never returned, and even the envoys disappeared without a trace. Because of this, Xuankong Mountain no longer has any fear, becoming a gathering place for demons and monsters from all over the far west. Any criminals who break the law risk their lives to run there for protection. Over time, that place has turned into a den of iniquity, an indelible stain in the 36 countries. Hong Tianye crossed his arms, his voice as cold as ice. Humph, those swindling monks, I'm afraid the abbot is turning a blind eye, afraid of ruining the reputation of Xuankong Temple, so he secretly takes action, killing the envoys, chanting scriptures with their mouths, but behind their backs they are unscrupulous. At this moment, Ye Junlin's eyes shifted to the side, stopping at the fleeing Commander Yang. He stretched out his hand, pointing nonchalantly. This guy seems to be in cahoots with Xuankong Mountain. Exactly. City Lord Murong clenched his sword hilt, his voice angry. This beast colluded with Xuankong Mountain, assassinating several generations of city lords. If it weren't for Senior's timely intervention, I would already be lying in the cold ground. Commander Yang's face was drained of blood, and he kowtowed like pounding garlic. Senior, spare me. I was momentarily confused. Oh, Ye Junlin narrowed his eyes, smiling coldly. If I'm not mistaken, that Black Bear Star is preparing to do something big recently, right? Otherwise, why would they take action with such a large-scale forced recruitment? Yes, the Mountain Lord. Ah, no. That beast is about to hold a grand birthday celebration, so he ordered his subordinates to urgently gather people. Commander Yang lowered his head, not daring to look directly, stuttering as he confessed. Just for one small city, you demanded 800 children. So how many lives will Yushan country lose? And with 35 other countries, what is that number of living beings? City Lord Murong roared in anger, his eyes bloodshot. Commander Yang knelt down, unable to cry. I was possessed by a demon, but it's not my fault. Xuankong Mountain's power is too great. Who dares to resist? Ye Junlin shook his head slightly, his right hand lifted, and his finger lightly flicked. By a stream of invisible force pierced through the void. Commander Yang only felt as if he had been struck by lightning all over his body, flying straight into the sky, with only the sound of the wind roaring and tearing his eardrums. Immediately afterward, he saw a mouth as big as an abyss gaping open in front of him. The Kun Peng spread its wings, opening its mouth and sucking hard, swallowing the traitor alive. Ah, a miserable scream echoed, and then died down. A second later, it was as silent as a graveyard. Immediately afterward, the system rang out a notification. Ding! Congratulations to the host for triggering the mission. Check in at Xuankong Mountain to receive a special reward upon completion. Ye Junlin glanced down. Do you know the location of Xuankong Mountain? City Lord Murong immediately respectfully replied, Senior, it's more than 1,000 miles to the southwest, originally a remote mountain range called Suo Niaodong, but since Black Bear Star occupied it, it has been renamed Xuankong Mountain. Ye Junlin nodded. Okay, I'll go take a look later. As soon as he finished speaking, City Lord Murong was shocked and immediately prostrated himself. Senior's great kindness. The people thank you. You are a true great philanthropist. Your merits are immeasurable. Hearing this, Ye Junlin laughed. A great philanthropist? Huh. He's actually just doing it conveniently. Below, City Lord Murong hesitated for a moment, finally asking in a low voice, What is Senior's honored name, so that we may engrave it in our hearts and thank you for generations to come? Ye Junlin leisurely replied. Xuan Tian Sect, Ye Junlin. Boom! A thunderclap sounded in City Lord Murong's head. His body stiffened, his eyes widened, and his mouth gaped open without uttering a word. Ye Junlin, that name. He had heard it no less than 100 times, from the bloody legends on the border to the strict warnings from Buddha continent, from the mouths of monks to children's rhymes. That person was a demon, a devil, an unforgivable existence, but today that person was the one who saved Wu City, saving the people. He had once believed that Xuankong Temple was a holy land of righteousness, saving people from suffering, but it was that place that tolerated monsters causing chaos, standing by and watching the people suffer without budging, and the rumored devil was the only one who dared to take action, the only one who dared to protect children, dared to kill evil and eliminate wickedness. Two names, two images, two opposing extremes of morality, were now completely reversed. City Lord Murong was shaken to the core. He trembled and muttered, Who is the real devil? A Kun. Turn your head to Xuankong Mountain. Roar. The Kun Peng roared to the sky, its wings covering the sky, carrying the tornado, breaking through the sky. The vast airflow swept across the sky, and the overwhelming pressure also disappeared with it. Pitch black. The mountains are endless and boundless. The peaks are like knife cuts and axe chops. The mountain roads are winding like dragons. The mountain terrain seems to support the sky and trample the earth. Majestic and unparalleled. This is Xuankong Mountain. In a gloomy valley, amidst a pile of white skulls piled high like a small mountain, Mountain Lord Black Bear Star was sitting gnawing on an arm, annoyed by the shiny golden hoop. A figure wearing a 5-colored feather coat stepped out, the coat adorned with chicken feathers, with a sharp beak like a bird, respectfully said. Reporting to the Mountain Lord, the disciples have followed your orders to persuade the countries, believing that by the birthday banquet 5 days later we will definitely gather enough 666 boys and girls. That person was one of the 4 great Vajras of Xuankong Mountain, 5-colored chicken king, a figure like an iron tower, muscles bulging, a curved horn on his forehead, skin as red as flowing lava, glittering with killing intent, he said in a deep voice, the sound like thunder in spring, causing the rocks in the cave to tremble slightly. Mountain Lord, news just came back. The monk troop attacking Yueshan country was completely annihilated. It is said that at that time a giant flying beast appeared in the sky, swallowing all the monk troops in one gulp, and then swaggered away. He is Red Ox King, leader of the 4 great Vajras, Amitabha. Could it be that there is another great demon in this far west? Black Bear Star's voice was indifferent, neither happy nor angry. A cold, sharp light flashed, making anyone who looked at him not dare to meet his gaze. Red Ox King spat out 2 streams of white gas, saying in a deep voice, Mountain Lord, rest assured, my 3 brothers and I have guarded this place for thousands of years, knowing every crack in the rocks and blade of grass, and apart from us, we have never seen a demon with such a strong aura. 5-colored Chicken King pursed his beak. Ack. I don't think it's a local demon, it must be something from elsewhere. Black Bear Star frowned, his voice as cold as ice. Even if it is a demon from elsewhere, why doesn't it eat civilians but only swallow monk troops? This is clearly wanting to oppose my Xuankong Mountain. 5-colored Chicken King was furious. That's right, are they blind? To dare to provoke Xuankong Mountain. Just then, a horrified shout echoed throughout the mountain gate. Mountain Lord, something big is wrong. A powerful expert of unknown origin has invaded Xuankong Mountain. You follow me out to greet them. What a long way you have come, fellow Taoist, to offer longevity wishes. Black Bear Star was calm, but in the depths of his voice was a hidden, bone-chilling killing intent. Understood. Red Ox King and 5-colored Chicken King replied in unison, their killing intent rising and trampling through the air. At that moment, the entire Xuankong Mountain shook. And in the sky, a terrifying pressure was spreading. The dark light descending like an abyss, tearing the sky, creating a suffocating feeling of oppression. These beasts actually dare to use living people as sacrifices. Li Wuji's eyes were bloodshot, his divine sense swept over, and clearly saw every bloody scene at the foot of the mountain, his face as cold as Ashura. Ye Junlin stood on Kunpeng's back, his eyes like a god looking down from above, the corners of his mouth curling into a cold smile. Xuankong Mountain, from today onwards, your name is erased from the three realms. Kunpeng flapped its wings, the atmosphere shifted, the earth shook, and demonic energy soared. Below the mountain valley, Black Bear Spirit rode the clouds and arrived. HMPH, he dares to come, let him come and never leave. Ahaha, my boss is brave and unparalleled. Five-colored Chicken King nodded in agreement. The four Demon Kings are all peak nascent soul, but Black Bear Spirit is a body integration. A Demon Emperor in this far west is the supreme existence. Above the Demon Emperor is the Demon Supreme. The Great Ascension Realm is already a legend. But when Ye Junlin and Kunpeng appeared in sight, all the demons of Xuankong Mountain froze. One glance felt like thousands of blades were cutting into their souls. Mountain Lord, this. The four great demon kings, who were originally fierce, now had cold sweat pouring out, their whole bodies stiff as statues. Black Bear Spirit finally couldn't pretend anymore. Startled as he looked at those pupils blazing like the sun and moon, his scalp tingling, he trembled and said, "Fellow Taoist, may I ask your esteemed name? This time you've come too." He didn't finish speaking. Oomph. Kunpeng spread its wings, its full power erupted, and a terrifying pressure covered the entire Xuankong Mountain. Bam, bam, bam. All the four great Vajras were blasted away, falling to the ground like sandbags. Black Bear Spirit was no exception. Forced to fall from the clouds, his head spinning, he cried out in a cracked voice, Demon Emperor, this is Tribulation Transcendence Realm. What the hell did this old man provoke?" Black Bear Spirit's heart was now shattered. He, as a body integration realm Demon Emperor, had carefully calculated every step before daring to choose this remote far west to raise his banner and claim hegemony. This place had no people, no immortals, no great powers, and even fewer ancient sects guarding it. It was the perfect place to establish a religion, spread teachings, manipulate the human race, and create a Xuankong Mountain that was revered by 10,000 people, where all spirits would submit. He thought he had planned everything, but one wrong step led him to provoke a Tribulation Transcendence Demon Emperor, who was even the mount of a human powerhouse. If he had known that the outside world was so dangerous, how would he have dared to leave Xuankong Temple? Heavens have eyes. Why punish me like this? Black Bear Spirit trembled. Never in his life had he regretted anything as much as he did now. Just then, a golden light suddenly burst forth from between his eyebrows. Yes, his forehead, which was originally covered by a golden circlet, now emitted a dazzling light, containing divine might. What kind of weird shit is this? The gold band trembled and instantly shot out a terrifying undulation. In the sky, the phantom of an old monk wearing a kasaya gradually appeared, his face thin and compassionate, his hands twirling prayer beads, his mouth not speaking a word but carrying an aura that filled the sky. Boom! A force like a surging ocean surged, directly pressing down on Kunpeng, who was soaring in the air. Abbot, Black Bear Spirit was overjoyed. So that golden circlet was no ordinary object, but a wisp of soul imprint left behind by the abbot of Xuankong Temple to protect him in times of danger. Kunpeng sensed the danger, let out a soft cry, and retreated backward. That old bald donkey is still good at protecting his own. Ye Junlin raised an eyebrow, his eyes revealing a trace of coldness. At that moment, the phantom of the abbot raised his hand. In the palm of his hand, the golden symbol of Manj appeared, illuminating the entire sky. Buddha light shone brightly. The pressure was like suppressing the 9 hells, subduing heavenly demons, and with a boom a palm struck down. Within it were hundreds of millions of monks chanting sutras. It was a palm that suppressed the realms, a Buddhist technique for destroying demons. Li Wuji's expression changed drastically, and he blurted out, "The aura of a perfected tribulation transcendence." Kunpeng's whole body shook, not daring to resist, but Ye Junlin only raised an eyebrow and smiled. "Just a remnant thought, yet you dare to show off in front of me." He raised his hand, a heaven-defying punch blasted out. Boom! Space shattered. The fist carrying golden light shone brightly, like the heavens jointly descending punishment. The Buddha seal was instantly crushed, the Buddha phantom shattered, and the rebounding force shot out mightily, sweeping away all the little demons at the foot of the mountain. Miserable cries echoed through the heavens. The palm seal was dissolved, the phantom of the abbot trembled slightly, and then vanished, as if it had never existed. No, impossible. Black Bear Spirit's eyes widened, his face as white as paper, his lips trembling. He had regarded that imprint as a life-saving charm, but he didn't expect it to be shattered by that human single punch. Could this be the master of the Demon Emperor? Black Bear Star was overjoyed, thinking he had escaped a calamity, secretly praising in his heart. As expected, the reputation of Xuankong Temple was useful. Even this great power gave face. The 4 demon kings, upon hearing this, were filled with envy. Having a background really made a difference, even getting an escort all the way. However, little Li Ye Junlin said indifferently, "Chop off this stupid bear's head. I want to offer it as a gift to the abbot." His voice was as light as a spring breeze, but falling into Black Bear Star's ears, it was like a bolt of lightning from a clear sky. "Yes, master." A cold light flashed, swoosh. Before he could even scream, a line of blood appeared on Black Bear Star's neck. The heavy head fell to the ground. Fresh blood spurted like a fountain, and the heavy body fell like an empty sack of meat. No one knew when. Li Wuji was already standing on the side, wielding his blade like the wind, as sharp as the grim reaper descending. He looked at the Black Bear's corpse and said with a faint smile, "Stupid bear. Still dreaming about getting away. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the mission of destroying Xuankong Mountain. Reward, 9th grade Xuan artifact. Azure Abyss Sword. Azure Abyss Sword. A mysterious ancient flying sword, containing immeasurable power. Its quality increases with the master's realm. Its power is earth-shattering." Ye Junlin. Upon hearing this, his eyes quickly fell upon the rewarded treasure sword, and a few hints of curiosity also arose in his heart. Azure Abyss Sword. 9th grade Xuan artifact. And it can also be upgraded with the realm. Isn't this almost like immortal equipment? Gotta try out the feeling of using the real deal when I get the chance. Scene change. In the heart of Buddha continent, there is a country called Pure Land Kingdom, the most powerful country, a gathering place for the strongest meditation cultivators in the eastern region. Just because here, there is a world-renowned temple, Xuankong Temple. The national preceptors of each generation are chosen by this temple. Even the country lord must give 3 parts respect. There's even a saying passed down from the common people, is Pure Land Kingdom in chaos or not? Xuankong Temple decides. Today is an extremely special day. The entire royal capital is bustling. Monks in all kinds of attire, weary from travel, quietly gather towards the same direction, Brahma Mountain. With each step, they clasp their hands and prostrate themselves before continuing their advance. Like this, group after group, they quietly worship Buddha and pray. Many common people also follow closely behind, imitating the monks, trudging along, reverently heading towards the mountaintop. In Pure Land Kingdom, this scene is nothing strange. On the summit, an ancient temple stands tall, majestic amidst the mist, carrying the aura of time's vicissitudes. In a quiet hall, a gaunt old monk is sitting cross-legged on a prayer mat. Abbot, the Dharma platform is about to open. The disciples are ready. A young novice respectfully reported. The old monk slightly opened his eyes, his gaze as deep as the sea, and calmly nodded. Step back. The young novice bowed and quietly withdrew. A moment later, the old abbot sighed softly. Who exactly can dissolve even this old monk's methods? A few days ago, he suddenly sensed the mark on Black Bear Star's head being triggered, then lost contact. Clearly something bad happened. Just a desolate far west, yet a strong person took action. Or is it a Dalo friend from another Dalo continent who happened to suppress him? But if it is someone in Buddha continent, those who dare to indirectly oppose me can be counted on one's fingers. The abbot closed his eyes and frowned. That beast escaped from the temple and caused chaos. Now being suppressed is also karma. Just hoping the person who took action has moderation. Don't make a big deal. If it affects Xuankong Temple, it will surely invite disaster. Lately, his heart has been uneasy. Before, Elder Ran went out and died for unknown reasons. The news was sealed off and not revealed. Now adding this matter makes the abbot even more troubled. Amitabha. Softly chanting a Buddhist mantra, the abbot stood up and stepped out of the hall. Today is the day to open the Dharma platform, a major ritual. There can be no carelessness. But when he raised his head and looked up, seeing the red sun overhead, the abbot was slightly startled. The corner of his eye twitched repeatedly. Strange, why does this old monk have the feeling that something big will happen today? At this time, along the road, the scattered sounds of conversation rang out. Since the last time I listened to the Dharma, I have gained some true meaning about the golden body. Even facing a demon emperor, I should be able to use my physical body to withstand a blow. The speaker was the great prince of Pure Land Kingdom. Tall in stature, with a strong presence, his hair stood up like steel needles, his eyes as bright as stars. Big brother is indeed of supreme comprehension. The second prince next to him fanned a folding fan, his appearance like a passing breeze, refined and courteous. Princess Mingyu smiled and said, Teasing, second brother. Didn't you tell me the other day that you could suppress even the demon emperor? She wore a purple dress, her black hair cascading down like a silken waterfall, her figure graceful, especially the upper part. Coughed. Well, it goes without saying that it made countless people turn their heads and stare blankly. The second prince broke out in a cold sweat, hurriedly waving his hands. Little sister, you misheard. I only said I understood a little more about the 6 true words. The great prince frowned and patted his younger brother's shoulder. Second brother, with such abilities, why didn't you say so sooner? Back home, let's spar around, big brother. Please don't, she's just talking nonsense. It seems you really look down on me. The great prince gritted his teeth, his fists crackling, as if secretly declaring, no sparring is not allowed. The second prince fell into despair and sighed softly. All right, spar then spar. Great. Truly worthy of being my good little sister, Mingyu whispered. In 2 months, it will be our father's great birthday. I hope to be able to take this opportunity to comprehend more Buddhist principles and bring joy to him. The crowd continued to quietly advance towards the summit, step by step heading towards the sacred temple. Monks stood in rows, clasping their hands and chanting, their faces solemn. On the lotus platform, Abbot Xuankong sat cross-legged, his hands forming a mudra, and chanted in a deep voice, All bodhisattvas, subdue your minds like this. All sentient beings with form, without form, with thought and without thought, all enter nirvana and are extinguished. Why? Because they need bodhi. The aged voice was as calm as flowing water, seeping into every soul like a stream, washing away all worldly filth. Everyone listened as if in a dream. Some quietly shed tears, some clasped their hands in front of their chests, silently not daring to breathe heavily. Suddenly, a burst of chaotic sounds rang out from outside, noisy, as if someone was pushing and shoving to break in, only to see several figures descending from the sky into the temple courtyard as if entering an uninhabited place, led by Ye Junlin, his hand still carrying a signboard of Xuankong Temple. That signboard was a temple guarding spiritual object, refined by generations of high monks, and having undergone countless years of incense offering, it contained magical power, and itself had almost reached the level of a spiritual artifact. A middle-aged monk immediately stepped out, his face stern, leading a group of monks blocking right in front of the door, releasing his fusion realm cultivation, and shouted loudly, Esteemed benefactors, this place is Brahma Mountain, a sacred Buddhist land. If you do not abide by the rules, please leave. You are not welcome here. Ye Junlin tilted his head slightly and raised an eyebrow. What did you say? I said, Bam. Not waiting for him to finish speaking, Ye Junlin kicked as if playing ball, kicking the signboard straight into the middle-aged monk's head. The middle-aged monk went flying. You think I need your face? The collision echoed through the temple grounds. A group of monks immediately panicked. Senior brother Huide, who are you? How dare you cause trouble at Xuankong Temple? Princess Mingyu's eyes widened, her voice trembling. Oh my god, who is he? How dare he do that to Xuankong Temple? The air froze, everyone just stood there dumbfounded, petrified. Who is this guy, daring to cause trouble at Xuankong Temple? The first prince's face darkened, he exclaimed angrily. Big brother, absolutely don't act rashly. The second prince quickly spoke up, his voice tense. Just then, angry shouts rang out from within the temple. Where did this evildoer come from? Daring to barge into Xuankong Temple in broad daylight? Immediately after the shout, waves of figures in bright yellow monk robes surged out from everywhere, like a tidal wave, everyone with bloodshot eyes, as if they could burn the enemy to ashes with just a look. Anyone who dares to take half a step forward, dies. A chilling shout rang out. Li Wuji darted forward, his hand drawing his saber from its sheath. Swoosh! A bone-chilling streak of saber energy slashed down, the ground in front of them splitting open into a deep ravine. The ravine was filled with violent killing intent, like a natural chasm dividing two worlds. Sensing that terrifying killing intent, no one dared to take another step. All the monks immediately turned pale, not daring to act rashly. Li Wuji coldly sneered, HMPH, so monks know fear too. The crowd standing outside also whispered. That guy's saber intent is terrifying. I'm afraid he has reached an extremely high realm. He doesn't seem like an unknown person. Don't you think their aura is familiar? I also feel like I've heard of them somewhere before. On the lotus platform, Feng Zhang still sat upright. His eyes flashed a hint of coldness, then immediately returned to calm. He had lived to this age and never seen anyone so arrogant. But today was the day of the Dharma assembly. Monks from all over the world were gathered here. At such a crucial moment, it was even more important to maintain face. He put his hands together and chanted, Amitabha. Then slowly opened his mouth, his voice neither sad nor happy. I don't know if my Xuankong Temple has offended you benefactors in any way. I hope you can give us a clear explanation. Otherwise, please stay here and repent before the Buddha. Even though the situation was as tense as a drawn bow, he still displayed the demeanor of a high-ranking Buddhist monk. And indeed, everyone secretly admired him. Only Ye Junlin coldly laughed and said bluntly without restraint, Keep acting. You bald donkeys at Xuankong Temple are really good at acting. As soon as this sentence came out, the whole place exploded. All the monks widened their eyes, trembling with anger. Feng Zhang still maintained a calm voice. Benefactor, it seems that you have a very deep misunderstanding of our Xuankong Temple, but worldly principles still need to distinguish between black and white. Today is the day of the Dharma assembly. I am spreading the Dharma to save all beings. You came here for no reason, and even beat people, destroyed a place of tranquility, and even used insulting words. So may I ask how you plan to explain this? Ye Junlin coldly snorted. Explain. Open your dog eyes and look carefully. He finished speaking and immediately signaled. Li Wuji, bring out the image recording orb. Clearly, master. Li Wuji quickly took out a ball of light, pouring magic power into it. Whoosh. A screen of light appeared in the sky, clearly showing a recorded image. It was outside Yawang Valley. In the frame, a monk wearing a kasaya was confronting a white-haired old man. Someone immediately exclaimed, That's Elder Randang. Above the platform, Feng Zhang's eyes flashed with a sharp light, his hands clenched unconsciously, his heart was struck by lightning, so Elder Randang really died. The image clearly showed everything. The situation, the dialogue, the cause and effect were gradually revealed. It was the white-haired old devil Ye Junlin who wanted to snatch people from Yawang Valley. How could a crossing tribulation realm great power do such a degenerate thing? Fortunately, Xuankong Temple sent a high-ranking monk to stop him. In the crowd, the anger towards Ye Junlin immediately erupted, and the respect for Xuankong Temple was immense. What people didn't know was that Xuankong Temple had secretly spread the news, guiding public opinion, making everyone in Buddha province hate Ye Junlin to the bone. Good, you monks take compassion as your foundation. Elder Randang's actions are actually very much in line with the consistent ideals of our Xuankong Temple, but in his heart he roared, Randang, you are really muddle-headed. Knowing that the other party is the white-haired old devil, yet you still dared to stand up for those low-level cultivators, why didn't you know to avoid trouble? In the image recording orb, the images continued to appear. Everyone saw clearly. After Grandmaster Randang knew the other party's identity, his eyes immediately changed, 180 degrees. Before he could say anything, he immediately took action, sealing off the entire area, imprisoning all the cultivators, and even plotting to kill everyone to silence them. Not stopping there, he even secretly suggested cooperation with Ye Junlin. Boom, the whole place was shaken. What, Randang wanted to cooperate with the white-haired old devil? Didn't he talk about the compassionate Buddha heart? A moment before, they had praised him to the skies, and the next moment everyone felt like they had swallowed a porcupine, stuck in their throats, unable to swallow, unable to spit out. The U-turn was too sharp, almost twisting their backs. Feng Zhang froze. He felt like he had been slapped in the face in front of the world, and each slap was distinct and clear. Princess Mingyu stood beside him, her eyes wide. Slaughtering the innocent, treacherous and cunning, hypocritical and deceitful. This is what they revere as an enlightened high monk, and even the highest-ranking high monk in the temple. But things didn't stop there. The final scene made everyone hold their breath. In the frame, Ye Junlin appeared. His fist was like a god descending to earth, crushing Elder Randang, rescuing all the imprisoned cultivators. That figure, that light was deeply imprinted in everyone's eyes, carved directly into the hearts of everyone present. Waves of cold gasps echoed throughout the square. Everyone stared blankly at the white-haired young man standing in the sky, his expression calm, his sleeves fluttering in the wind. Everyone's eyes began to change, surprise, fear, nervousness, and even awe. Princess Mingyu whispered, So it's him, he is Ye Junlin. Instead of fear, a hint of inexplicable curiosity appeared in the depths of her eyes. Little sister, quickly stand behind big brother. The first prince hurriedly pulled Princess Mingyu behind him, sweat dripping from his forehead, his voice full of urgency. The second prince felt like he had been electrocuted, his scalp tingling. Is it necessary to immediately report to father? Ye Junlin. This name was not someone their royal family could easily deal with. Feng Zhang looked closely at the person standing in front of him. His face suddenly stiffened. It's you. He couldn't believe that Randang's death was ended by such a fist, and even in front of so many eyes of all living beings. But what frightened him more was not Randang's death, but the 1,000-year-old reputation of Xuankong Temple being trampled underfoot in broad daylight. HMPH. A furious snort exploded like thunder in the sky. Abbott finally rose, his voice low and menacing. Yea, you demonic fiend, you are truly despicable. The illusory shadow orb. HMPH. It's clear you've tampered with it, fabricating a sham to smear our Xuankong Temple. You think you can fool the world with such low-down tricks? Everyone was stunned. Could there be a hidden story? Indeed, the illusory shadow orb could be faked. Difficult as it may be, it's not impossible. You old baldy, still trying to weasel your way out of this? Li Wuji stepped forward, eyes blazing with anger. Hong Tianye crossed his arms, sneering. It's just as I expected. You Buddhist monks are full of scriptures on the surface, but your hearts are filled with garbage. At this, Ye Junlin chuckled coldly, and with a wave of his sleeve said, Then look closely. Thump. A heavy object rolled across the stone ground. It was a black bear's skull, blood still fresh and reeking, its eyes wide open, unable to close in death. What, Abbott's entire body shuddered, as if struck by lightning? The image of the black bear demon in his mind conjuring countless chaotic thoughts. The moment the black bear demon's head hit the ground, the entire area fell silent. No one could utter a word. Every gaze froze, stunned. What did a skull represent? Could the Xuankong Temple be related to this demon beast? Abbott stood frozen, his eyes fixed on the skull, cold sweat pouring down his forehead. His heart pounded. It's over. The black bear demon was the evil spawn I had secretly harbored to unleash a slaughter. When needed, I never expected Ye Junlin to annihilate him and drag his corpse here. Ye Junlin crossed his arms, a mocking smile on his face. Old baldy, I brought back your lost pet. Aren't you going to thank me? Abbott wanted to roar. The hell! But on the surface he tried to maintain a solemn facade. Don't spout nonsense. This old monk has absolutely no connection with that vile creature. Really? Ye Junlin smiled faintly. This black bear relied on you as his backing to establish Mount Xuankong in the far west. For years he ran rampant, killing countless innocent people. You dare say you knew nothing? Boom. As soon as the question was asked, the entire plaza erupted like a boiling pot. Could it be? Abbott is actually condoning evil creatures to do evil. I remember, years ago I saw a black bear in the temple. Could this be more than a coincidence? Great Abbott, please give us a clear explanation. The crowd began to riot, many with bloodshot eyes angrily questioning. The monks of Xuankong Temple hung their heads. No one dared to speak. Abbott took a deep breath, trying to remain calm. HMPH, yea, don't slander me. Our temple did indeed keep a black bear, but it died hundreds of years ago. What you're presenting is merely fabricated evidence, a blatant slander. Yes, it's slander. Yea, you are truly despicable. A group of monks immediately echoed, angrily shouting as if they had suffered a great injustice. Ye Junlin smiled faintly. Xiao Li. Let them open their eyes and take a good look. Understood, master. Li Wuji waved his hand, and a series of illusory shadow orbs whizzed into the air. Instantly, images lit up in the sky. From City Lord Murong's account to the scene of annihilating the black bear demon, and the image of Abbott's phantom appearing within the blockade, everything was as clear as day. Gestures, expressions, every sound was recorded without missing a detail. Ye Junlin clasped his hands behind his back, his voice cold. If you still doubt it's fake, go to the far west and investigate. For years, the people there have lived worse than dogs, begging for help all the way here. And what did Xuankong Temple do? Ignored them? Not only did they not help, but they also secretly silenced them. Take a good look. This is the person you've been praising as virtuous, compassionate, and dedicated to saving the world. Boom. The sound around the plaza exploded. Everyone's minds were shaken violently. People looked at each other, heads filled with doubt. At this moment, a hoarse voice rang out from the crowd. Greetings, everyone. This one is an elder of the Celestial Design sect. The entire area immediately fell silent. The Celestial Design sect was renowned, specializing in creating puppets, flying vessels, and especially illusory shadow orbs, the elder slowly said. This one uses the reputation of the Celestial Design sect to guarantee that all of these illusory shadow orbs are absolutely authentic, without any signs of being tampered with or faked. Hurry, get out of here! The other cultivators also hastily fled, their faces panicked as they ran for their lives. Just then, a loud boom echoed, and golden light blazed across the sky. Mount Fanda sealed off the void, reverberating with Buddhist chants and sutras echoing in all directions. A layer of grand formation had been activated. The mountain protection formation. Bald donkey, what do you want to do? Frantic shouts rang out everywhere. Everyone was both scared and angry. The abbot stepped forward, hands clasped in front of his chest, chanting a Buddhist prayer, Amitabha. Since you benefactors have entered this place, it means you have a karmic connection with Buddha, so please don't leave. Obediently stay here, and allow me to guide you to enlightenment. Seeing this scene, anyone who wasn't an idiot understood their intentions. There was no more doubt. Xuankong Temple wanted to silence everyone. Shameless. You are utterly shameless. A cultivator trembled as he roared, so infuriated he almost vomited blood. Now that Mount Fanda is sealed off, what do we do? Princess Mingyu trembled, her face pale. The second prince looked up at the abbot's figure and shouted, Evil monk, even if you kill us all, how will you report this to the outside world? Your Xuankong Temple won't escape the crime of mass murder either, no way. The first prince clenched his fist, his eyes blazing with fire. Even if you try to deceive the heavens, you can't hide the bloodstains. As soon as he said that, cheers erupted from all around. Everyone understood that even if they were silenced, the outside world would definitely become suspicious. Because the people who came here today were cultivators from all over Buddha province, including the royal families of the Pure Land countries. If they all suddenly disappeared at Xuankang Temple, the consequences would cause a huge uproar in the eastern domain. The abbot clasped his hands and sighed softly. Good, good. Today this old monk opened the Dharma platform, spreading Buddhist teachings everywhere, but unexpectedly, Ye Junlin, the devil, came to disrupt things. The mountain protection formation had to be activated. This old monk exerted all his strength, joining hands with his fellow disciples, and finally managed to kill him. It's just a pity that all of you pilgrim guests were caught in the crossfire, Amitabha. The entire plaza felt a chill down their spines. If things really played out as he said, then there would be no evidence and no witnesses left. At that time, not only would Xuankang Temple not be punished, but it might even be hailed as heroes who slayed demons and eliminated evil mentors. Li Wuji laughed out of anger. This bald donkey was clearly planning to get rid of the people first, and then frame them with false accusations. Ye Junlin breathed out softly, his eyes full of mockery. Heh, another orthodox traditionalist from Xuankang Temple. First, it was Rondeng, and now it's the abbot's turn. Could it be that the trick of pushing the blame onto others while running away has become a local specialty here? He raised an eyebrow, his voice as cold as ice. You think it's that simple, huh? You want to kill me and then frame me as a demon who harms people? Do you really think you'll succeed? The abbot was silent for a moment, before opening his mouth. Ye Junlin, the devil, this old monk has seen your strength through the shadow recording orb, and it's indeed not to be underestimated. But have you forgotten? This is Xuankang Temple, this old monk's home turf, under the blessing of the Grand Formation and the protection of countless monks. Magical power, how much of a chance do you think you have left? As soon as he finished speaking, the atmosphere seemed to freeze. The abbot wasn't exaggerating. If it were somewhere else, he might be wary. But at Xuankang Temple, with the mountain protection formation guarding it and layers upon layers of Dharma protection, he had enough confidence to enter a state of invincibility. Unless a true immortal descended. Otherwise, he would use blood to wash away the injustice, and use the Dakyo to slay the demon. Rumble. The mountain protection formation erupted, Mount Fanda shook, golden light surged, Buddhist sounds echoed through the heavens, and the entire sacred mountain suddenly transformed into a sacred and divine fortress full of killing intent. The entire king's capital stirred, people looked up towards Mount Fanda, horrified. What's going on? Could it be that Xuankang Temple is in trouble? Should we dispatch troops to rescue them? Amidst the chaos, a general rushed into the royal palace in a panic. Reporting to the ruler, the first prince, second prince, and princess are still inside Xuankang Temple. What did you say? The ruler of the Pure Land Kingdom jumped up, his face ashen. Summon all the garrison troops, immediately seal off Mount Fanda, and prepare for rescue. But when the general left the hall, hidden in a dark corner, he suddenly stopped, his lips curling into a cold smile, took out an ancient token from his sleeve, poured magical power into it. Silver light flickered, as if sending a signal to some force in the darkness. Back at Mount Fanda, Ye Junlin pointed and ordered, Xiaosheng, no need to waste time, attack now. Finally, I get to unleash hell. Hong Tianyé's face revealed a look of madness. His red robes fluttered, and flames rose from the palm of his hand like a storm. You came just in time. I'll use you as a sacrifice, the abbot sneered. Shut your mouth, Hong Tianyé roared. Meanwhile, the aura of an ancient formation permeated the air, and the incessant chanting echoed directly into everyone's minds. Anaya, my head. Countless cultivators clutched their heads. Li Wuji gritted his teeth. Even I'm affected. But it's still too weak. Hong Tianyé frowned, his eyes ice cold. The abbot's body blazed. Golden light radiating brilliantly, a dazzling halo appearing behind his head. A palm shadow like a mountain came crashing down. The Dharma palm. Hong Tianyé's entire body seemed to be on fire, covered in a layer of flames, his power like a dragon's roar. Boom! Palm and fist collided, the void collapsed, and chaotic air currents swirled. HMPH, the abbot snorted coldly. I didn't expect you to have reached the peak of the tribulation transcension stage, but there's nothing to be afraid of. Since you're so good at fire techniques, let's see whose is stronger. With that, the abbot clasped his hands together, and a stream of flames seeming to come from the 9 nether hell erupted. Hong Tianyé formed hand seals, the scarlet Huangli flames bursting forth, resisting the abbot's attack. I didn't expect the flames of that bald old coot to contain the power of the 9 nethers. You collude with the underworld race, and still dare to call yourself a Buddhist monk. You heretical demons don't know what true scriptures are. This is Buddhist karma fire, born to burn away evil spirits and exterminate demons like you. With an earth-shattering boom that tore through the sky, a massive figure, 10,000 meters long, broke through the clouds in the vast sky. Like a living mountain, its rolling aura enveloped the entire Brahma mountain. That's a Kunpeng, the abbot exclaimed, his expression drastically changing. An ancient divine beast, the supreme of the demon race, a king among kings, actually appeared openly on Brahma mountain. Moreover, its aura was clearly that of the tribulation transcension stage. There was no doubt, this was a true demon emperor. The Kunpeng flapped its wings, opening its mouth, a deep abyss. Countless energies crazily gathering into a terrifying beam of light. Then, boom! The sky-piercing beam struck straight down at the mountain protection array, a heaven-shattering bombardment. Right on the Kunpeng's back, a small figure with a big head and a small body excitedly raised its hand. Master, Thirsty is here to help you. Beside it, a tall figure trembled. It was the great demon king, his face pale, wishing he could disappear into the ground. Underground, the abbot looked at the scene, his eyes almost popping out. What? This Kunpeng's head is your mount? He had only seen it vaguely through image orbs before, never expecting the reality to be this ancient divine beast, such a tribulation transcension stage divine beast, willingly serving as a mount to a human. He couldn't understand it at all. The Kunpeng was originally a king within the demon race's bloodline, and once it unleashed its power, it would be absolutely world-destroying. It used to just sweep the floor, but now that it had the chance to exert itself, it desperately unleashed its power. Boom, boom, boom. Beams of destructive light shot straight down, striking the mountain protection array, the tremors causing heaven and earth to shake. Thirsty is here. Bai Zhaoxi waved a small fist, golden divine light exploding, chaotic energy gushing like a waterfall. The fourth disciple was called out, and even though reluctant, the great demon king dared not disobey his senior sister, and had no choice but to circulate the Azure Emperor longevity art. Boom! A cyan beam of light slashed down, like divine lightning descending, striking straight into the formation. The three of them attacked simultaneously. 3 streams of tribulation transcension stage power converging into a great bombardment. Crack! The mountain protection array trembled violently, and then the surface suddenly cracked open. A gap appeared in the light screen covering Brahma Mountain. Immediately, those cultivators who had been suppressed by the formation, their heads aching as if about to explode, gradually awoke. Seeing the gap, they all shouted loudly. Run! Chaotic like a hornet's nest. Thousands of people squeezed and jostled to escape, screams echoing throughout the mountain. Return! You all come back here for me! The abbot's face was blood red as he angrily roared, waving a giant palm of Buddhist light down, intending to capture everyone running. Boom! The palm imprint was scattered by Ye Junlin with one hand, shattering into sparkling rays of starlight falling lightly in the air. Shocked, surprised, unexpected, Ye Junlin smiled faintly, his voice laced with sarcasm. The abbot stood in mid-air, his face as dark as ice, murderous intent seething in his heart. He hated this brat to the bone. If Ye Junlin hadn't come to cause trouble, how could the Xuankong Temple have fallen into such a miserable state today? And now that those people had escaped, if word got out, the Xuankong Temple's 1,000-year reputation would probably be ruined. Good opportunity, run quickly, the first prince shouted, his eyes shining brightly as if seeing a path to survival. Little sister, don't be dazed, run quickly. Princess Mingyu was still staring blankly at Ye Junlin's back, until she was pulled by the second prince, and hurriedly ran with the guards. Rushing towards the path of life, waves of cultivators followed suit, fleeing Brahma Mountain. Look, people have escaped. The royal capital was instantly in turmoil, and the watching forces couldn't help but be shaken. What's going on? Is Xuankong Temple under attack by demons? Should we send troops to reinforce them? A middle-aged commander hurriedly ran before the prince to ask for instructions. Reinforce my ass, the first prince glared. They are the demons in Buddhist robes. What? The commander paled in fear. These words were no different from exposing Xuankong Temple's true face to the world. To be accused of disrespecting Buddhism was a death sentence. Above the sky, as soon as the mountain protection screen cracked, a small figure shot down from the Kunpeng's back like a shooting star. Master? Thirsty is here. You're just in time, Ye Junlin smiled, waving his sleeve. Follow your master, and teach these baldies a lesson they'll never forget. All right, Bai Zhaoxi immediately charged into the battlefield, her snow-white hands clenched tightly. Each punch landed like thunder, the resulting shockwaves sweeping across the area. One by one, figures were sent flying, crashing to the ground, covered in blood. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh! The great demon king waved his hand, and dozens of emerald green vines shot out like steel whips, piercing through the elders, splattering blood everywhere. Holy crap! The cultivators who were about to encircle and capture him couldn't turn around fast enough, their scalps tingling with fear. At this moment, the great demon king transformed into a demon god, his vines coiling around the battlefield like divine serpents, unleashing a frenzied slaughter. The entire battlefield descended into chaos. Even though Ye Junlin only brought a few people, they were all genuine Tribulation Realm experts. As soon as they made their move, the Xuankong Temple suffered heavy losses. Ye Junlin smiled faintly. Old bald donkey, looks like things aren't going so well for you, huh? The abbot's face turned green, his body trembling slightly. He truly didn't expect this devil to not only be strong himself, but for all of his disciples to also be in the Tribulation Realm. The abbot forced himself to stay calm, his eyes as cold as ice. Yeah, you think the Xuankong Temple only has this much to offer? With that, he turned his head and looked deep into the temple, his voice deep. The two of you, please make your move. Today, let's join forces and kill this devil. With an earth-shattering boom, 2 sky-high auras erupted from deep within the Xuankong Temple, surging like a vast ocean. From the sky, 2 dazzling magical artifacts shot towards them. One was a staff with black and white intertwined segments, and the other was a golden bracelet, both being 7th grade profound artifacts, passed down through the temple for over 1,000,000 years. Subduing demon staff, Vajra bracelet, an elder exclaimed in shock. These 2 artifacts were the sacred weapons of the temple, part of the 3 great sacred treasures of the Xuankong Temple. Swish! The 2 artifacts drew a beautiful arc in the sky, as if possessing sentience, simultaneously striking towards Ye Junlin. Ye Junlin frowned, raised his right hand, and with 2 fingers joined together pointed straight at the sky. Get lost? Boom! The sound was like thunder. The subduing demon staff and Vajra bracelet groaned as they were knocked back, swirling quake, returning to their masters. In the sky, on the left, was a tall, middle-aged monk, with golden rings in his ears, his blood energy like the ocean, holding a staff, his eyes like lightning. On the right was a young monk, with a white halo behind his head, a red dot between his eyebrows, his face serene, without joy or sorrow, the bracelet floating in the palm of his hand, shining like gold stars. Who are those 2? A young novice whispered. The senior brother next to him had turned pale. It's Elder Longxiang and Elder Qingjing. They were once known as the Xuankong 3 Saints, on par with Abbot Shu Yun back then. Boom! The entire place exploded. The names of the Xuankong 3 Saints were like thunder in the eastern region. Back then, the 3 of them joined forces and swept through the area, each of them invincible in their realm, and when the 3 of them combined, they also cultivated a special kind of technique, which could unleash double the destructive power. It was thanks to these 3 that the Xuankong Temple rose to the pinnacle of Buddhist cultivation in the eastern region. Although the 2 of them later went into seclusion, leaving only Shu Yun to inherit the position of abbot, their reputation still remained, causing countless cultivation forces to fear the 3 words, Xuankong. Three saints, now Longxiang and Qingjing, have reappeared, and the Xuankong Temple monks burst into emotional cheers as if they had seen their idols again. In the distance, Shu Yun forced a smile. The two of you, it's been a long time. Elder Longxiang held his staff, his eyes sharp as knives, his voice as loud as a bronze bell. Su Yun, what kind of trouble have you gotten yourself into? That kid blew away both my and Qingjing's magical artifacts with his bare hands. Elder Qingjing's eyes were filled with pity. It's sad. The Xuankong Temple hasn't suffered such heavy losses in many years. Su Yun, how can you face the late abbot? Hearing this, the corners of Shu Yun's mouth twitched slightly. His old face suddenly darkened, then turned cold, his mood changing unpredictably. If he hadn't been forced to the end of the road, he really wouldn't have wanted to see those two again. His eyes were bloodshot, and Shu Yun glared fiercely at Ye Junlin. Ye Junlin raised an eyebrow slightly, his eyes flashing. Those two don't seem to be on the same page as this old monk. Haha, looks like you don't like him much, huh? His casual tone was full of sarcasm. Elder Longxiang and Elder Qingjing were startled. Shu Yun, is what he's saying true? Shu Yun flew into a rage. Devil, don't try to sow discord. With that, he immediately began chanting, as if summoning something extremely dangerous. Boom! From deep within Mount Fantuo, a shockwave resounded. An ancient staff broke through the dust, floating in the air, wrapped in the light of Buddhism, its aura suffocating. Ah, that's the Tongtian staff, a monk exclaimed in shock. A 9th grade profound artifact, the supreme treasure of the Xuankong Temple. Shu Yun held the staff, one hand raised in front of his chest, and said coldly, "You forced me to use this. Even if you die, it will be worth it." The Tongtian staff is a 9th grade profound artifact, almost only one step away from becoming an immortal artifact, its power unmatched, and today he has brought it to the battlefield. Shu Yun glanced at the other two and said in a deep voice, "The two of you, don't blame me. The current situation doesn't allow for hesitation. For the sake of our Dao lineage, we must join forces." HMPH. That makes sense. Longxiang nodded, and with a wave of his hand, the subduing demon staff smashed down like thunder. Devil, accept your fate. The shadow of the staff was like a mountain, crashing down, swift. From the other side, a dazzling golden light tore through the sky. The Vajra bracelet descended like heavenly thunder, carrying ancient swirling patterns, striking straight towards Ye Junlin's head. "Evil spawn, meet your death," Elder Qingjing shouted coldly. The two great experts attacked from both sides. Shu Yun wielded the staff, his body radiating Buddhist light. Behind him, the illusory image of the Buddha appeared, his aura like a god descending. The three great completion tribulation realm experts, the three supreme forces, descended at the same time. Facing that vast pressure, Ye Junlin didn't move. He raised his hand, passing it over his head, summoning an ancient flying sword. The sword body covered in runes, the light pale like the vicissitudes of time. As soon as the sword light appeared, everyone's eyes were immediately dazzled. Sheng Yuan's sword, a 9th grade profound artifact. Ye Junlin casually swung his sword drawn like thunder, its sharp edge exploding, a streak of cold light cutting through the sky. Shu Yun cried out in alarm. "How do you also possess a 9th grade Xuan Qi?" Ding! Xuankong Temple check-in detected. Does the host wish to accept the reward? The system's voice sounded at just the right moment. Ye Junlin glared, cursing inwardly. Good heavens, you're only telling me now. Where did you swallow the previous rewards? He angrily roared in his mind. Check-in, ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully checking in. Reward, super-grade swordsmanship. 6 Immortal Sword Manual. A flood of information poured into his mind without even thinking. Ye Junlin instinctively swung his sword. The Kang Yuan sword tore through the wind, howling. A sky-filling killing intent, murderous aura, killing intent, and killing thought converged on the tip of the sword, transforming into an earth-shattering sword strike. The entire world seemed to turn blood red. A single sword strike seemed capable of decapitating even immortals in the heavens. What? Zhu Yun and the other two's expressions drastically changed. Boom, boom. A beam of fiery red swordlight slashed straight down, carrying power as if to destroy heaven and earth. That force surged, sending shivers down the spine. The three high-ranking monks of Xuankong Temple were forced to combine their strength. And after a long while, they barely managed to neutralize that one sword strike. Zhu Yun was startled, his face turning pale. "Demonic cultivator, what kind of swordsmanship is this?" The sword move just now was far too ferocious. It carried an unyielding killing intent, as if wanting to destroy even gods and Buddhas. If it were someone with a weak mind, that single sword strike would have been enough to shatter their soul, turning them into an idiot on the spot. Fortunately, all three were high-ranking monks proficient in meditation, but even so, they had just been in an extremely difficult situation. In midair, Ye Junlin stood there, his silver hair fluttering, his eyes cold, his killing intent seemingly materialized, holding his longsword, his figure proud, like a devil descending upon the world. He smiled faintly. "Listen carefully. This swordsmanship is called Donkey Killer, specially used to chop shameless old balds like you. Sinful wretch, daring to speak such wild nonsense." Elder Longxiang roared, tightening his grip on the demon-subduing cudgel, his figure sweeping across the void like lightning. A shocking clang resounded. Elder Longxiang was pushed back several steps, his hands numb. Longxiang angrily shouted, "What are you two still spacing out for?" Just watching, Shu Yun secretly took a deep breath, separated to occupy a position, and joined forces to encircle and attack him. Elder Qingjing also nodded. "That's exactly what I was thinking." Immediately, the three moved, forming a triangular formation, tightly surrounding Ye Junlin in the middle, from 3 directions. 3 attacks were launched simultaneously. But facing that offensive, Ye Junlin only placed one hand behind his back, holding the Kang Yuan sword in the other, calmly responding. Each sword strike dissolving, each attack, each step back of his was stable, each move was full of killing intent. The sound of metal colliding echoed throughout Mount Fumo. Kui waves surged, the sky and earth were hazy, but even with 3 people besieging him, they couldn't gain half an advantage. Elder Longxiang gritted his teeth. Damn it, back then, when the 3 of us roamed the eastern region, we had never encountered such a difficult opponent. What era is he a monster from? Elder Qingjing sighed. Shu Yun, I told you before, don't make enemies randomly. You nodded readily back then, and now look, you've dragged us all into trouble. Xu Yun became even angrier upon hearing this. Shut up. He looked at Ye Junlin, his eyes revealing a heavy killing intent. This demonic cultivator cannot be judged by common sense. Then he shouted, Ye Junlin, you want to see the true foundation of Xuankong Temple, don't you? Fine, let me show you. Finishing speaking, he began to chant incantations. From deep within the earth of Mount Fumo, a stream of sacred light slowly rose. The three of them were simultaneously bestowed with a strange power, golden light covering their entire bodies. They were as if the Buddha had descended and blessed them. Each of their auras strengthened several times over. This is, Ye Junlin frowned slightly. Li Wuji's face turned pale. Not good. Master is in danger, Hong Tianye whispered. This is the power of incense, the strength accumulated from tens of thousands of Xuankong Temple's believers over countless generations. Once activated, it can make the person casting it as if they've transformed into a saint. In the high sky, a Buddhist proclamation echoed, Amitabha. The sound of chanting sutras was like a great bell reverberating throughout the sky. An old monk wearing a kasaya clasped one hand in front of his chest, the other hand holding a glittering golden staff, his old face revealing a few traces of compassion, as if grieving for the world, but the depths of his eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Damn it, I originally intended to accumulate more incense power, waiting for the opportunity to break through to the true immortal realm, but unexpectedly I was forced to burn it all on this demonic cultivator. The old man gritted his teeth, his eyes filled with hatred. Even if magic is used, it will be dispelled. Just then, a sharp screech echoed from afar. Kun Peng, who was circling outside, saw his master in trouble, and immediately broke through the formation and rushed inside. It opened its mouth and spat out a beam of destructive light, sweeping straight towards the three high monks. Rumble, dazzling light burst forth, the aura of destroying the heavens and extinguishing the earth, but Xu Yun only snorted coldly. Evil beast! He waved his hand to dispel the light, then grabbed straight towards Kun Peng. A giant golden hand appeared, carrying the swastika symbol, filled with divine aura. Kun Peng tried its best to resist, but was inevitably suppressed. The hand transformed into 5 mountains, pressing down on it, making it unable to move. You have a predestined relationship with Buddhism. I will convert you later and make you the guardian sacred beast of Xuankong Temple. Xu Yun looked at the divine bird, a look of greed flashed in his eyes. This is Kun Peng. If he can subdue it, today's losses are not significant. At this moment, Ye Junlin's cold voice sounded, Old Baldy, how dare you touch my Akun? Akun, Xu Yun almost choked on the spot. What a lousy name, he sneered. So what, do you think you can threaten me? Now he has absolute confidence in victory. But at this moment, try this. Ye Junlin immediately cast a spell, his whole body glowing brightly. At the same time, from both sides of his body, 2 figures exactly like him stepped out. Boom! The 2 clones threw a punch, cooperating with the main body's sword moves, forcing the 3 high monks to retreat. What is this? Xu Yun was horrified. The 3 of them stared blankly at the 3 figures standing towering in the air, each with an aura exactly like the original body. Ye Junlin felt the connection from the 2 clones, frowned and murmured, how interesting, this is 1 chi, transforming into 3 pure ones, 3 figures, 3 strengths, 3 dominations. The clone on the left, carrying the coffin of celestial burial on his shoulder, has a wild aura. The clone on the right, holding the longevity flute, has the temperament of a god. In the middle, Ye Junlin held his sword straight, a cold smile blooming on his lips. Continue, Elder Qingjing said in a deep voice. Xu Yun, why don't you cooperate with me and Longxiang to perform an ultimate move from the past? If it's just 1 move, I believe we will have a very high chance of winning. Elder Longxiang also nodded. That's right, back then the 3 of us joined forces to unleash our ultimate move, unstoppable, dominating the world. Now this devil is too strong, I'm afraid we have to use that move to suppress him. Hearing this, Ye Junlin raised his eyebrows slightly. Oh. The 3 of them still have a move they haven't used. But contrary to expectations, Xu Yun roared angrily. Shut up, don't even think about Lei Lao not cooperating. His attitude suddenly became agitated, as if he was reminded of some unpleasant memories. Longxiang and Qingjing could only shake their heads. You really are, Qingjing sighed softly. At this time, Xu Yun turned abruptly towards Ye Junlin, his eyes full of murderous intent. You think you can resist the 3 of us with just 2 clones? Ye Junlin smirked. You'll know if you try. After saying that, he swooped up, a sharp sword light slashing straight towards Xu Yun's Yintang point. Xu Yun was startled, hurriedly raised his treasured staff, and used all his strength to block it. A loud bang rang out. Being violently shaken, Xu Yun retreated dozens of zang, blood spilling from the corner of his mouth, his face pale. He was horrified. Before he had 2 companions to help, now facing him alone, he had already fallen into a disadvantage. Evil creature, don't be arrogant, Longxiang shouted loudly, wielding the subduing demon cudgel to attack. But as soon as he made a move, an ancient bronze coffin appeared out of nowhere, blocking the attack. With a bang, the cudgel collided with the coffin, emitting an earth-shattering vibration. A cold figure appeared. It was Ye Junlin's clone. Your opponent is me, Longxiang was shocked, a cold sweat breaking out on his back. Longxiang, let me help. Elder Qingjing rushed over. The Vajra Pestle tore through space, slashing straight towards Ye Junlin's clone. Its power was so strong that even a person undergoing tribulation could be crushed into minced meat. Suddenly, a flute sounded. The sound like flowing water and floating clouds. Sound symbols appeared in the air, blocking the path of the Vajra Pestle. With a bang, the Vajra Pestle was blocked, unable to advance even an inch. Elder Qingjing looked in surprise at the flute. A silver-haired youth, holding a flute in his mouth, was walking towards him, his eyes full of teasing. Ye Junlin smiled faintly. Before it was 3 against 1, now it's 1-on-1, that's fair. Then, he suddenly drew his sword, a fiery red swordlight slashing straight towards Xu Yun. Not good, Xu Yun panicked, and hurriedly poured all his magic power into the Tongtian staff. Buddha's light shone brightly. A violent shock rang out, the 2 collided, and the shock waves spread like waves. Xu Yun tried his best to resist, his face in pain, sweat dripping from his forehead. Ye Junlin sneered again. How many more moves can you block? He waved his hand. The sword light covered the sky, and the murderous intent turned into a blood cloud hovering above his head. Puked. Finally, Zhu Yun couldn't bear it, and spat out a mouthful of blood, his body trembling, his face pale. The other two wanted to help, but they were also being pushed to their limits. Longxiang got slammed by the funeral sky coffin and went flying, spitting out blood, his internal organs severely damaged. Ye Junlin's clone carried the funeral sky coffin, pressing forward step by step, his aura like a demon god descending. On the other side, Elder Qingjing wasn't doing any better. His Vajra pestle was locked down by the Yin talisman, forcing him to give up casting spells and attack the person playing the flute, but the flute sound surged even more intensely, the sound echoing like thousands of soldiers and horses charging. The sound of hooves, shouts, and clashing swords filled the air relentlessly. Elder Qingjing's face changed. What? He felt pain all over his body as if stabbed by 10,000 knives. Aha! A miserable scream rang out. Longxiang looked over, his face pale. Qingjing, what's wrong with you? He saw the other man acting like he was going crazy, clearly untouched by anyone, yet clutching his head in pain, harming himself. Ye Junlin's clone sneered, maybe you should worry about yourself first. With that, he lifted the funeral sky coffin and smashed it straight down on Longxiang. Boom! The demon-subduing staff shook violently as if about to break. Elder Longxiang was bleeding from all 7 orifices, his face as white as a sheet, his heart a turbulent sea. He was utterly despairing. Can't win at all. Just how strong is this devil? When Ye Junlin used 1 qi transformed into 3 pure ones, all 3 of them, once the famed 3 saints of Shuangkong Temple in the eastern region, were overwhelmed and couldn't react in time. The situation completely reversed. Squelch, Zhu Yun spat out a mouthful of red blood, grinding his teeth, struggling to hold on. At this point, the kasaya on his body was in tatters, his whole body covered in wounds, with not a trace of the demeanor of an enlightened high monk. Looking at the silver-haired youth holding the sword before him, his heart trembled. If it weren't for the blessing of the power of incense, I'm afraid I would have died long ago. Zhu Yun lowered his head and mocked himself. This is the real difference between people. He was the abbot of Shuangkong Temple, revered as the #1 high monk. But if he were to die just like this, what meaning would all his previous efforts have? The thought churned in his mind. Zhu Yun recalled the years of enduring cultivation, climbing step by step to the peak, enjoying the glory of 10,000 monks prostrating before him. At this moment his eyes turned bloodshot, his face gradually becoming ferocious. Boom! An enormous aura erupted from his body. Tearing through the clouds, Zhu Yun shouted loudly, "You two, give me a hand!" Longxiang spat out more blood, cursing with a laugh. Amitabha, this little brat. If he had woken up sooner, Qingjing and I wouldn't have had to suffer so much. A second later, the two simultaneously chanted incantations and formed hand seals, then transformed into 2 streams of black and white light, rushing straight into Zhu Yun's body. Aha! His shout echoed throughout Brahma Mountain. Ye Junlin paused, a look of surprise on his face. Before him, a strange figure was gradually forming. 3 heads, 6 arms, a body merged from 3 people, Zhu Yun in the middle, the other 2 heads being Longxiang and Qingjing. 3 arms on each side held 3 magic treasures, the Tongtian staff, the demon-subduing staff, and the Vajra pestle, his whole body radiating earth-shattering energy. It was a 3-headed, 6-armed being. Ye Junlin frowned. Unlike the legends, this is a true merging of 3 people. We finally reunited in one body, Longxiang shouted from the left side. Amitabha. Back then, the 3 saints of Shuangkong Temple used this move to dominate the eastern region. Qingjing also sighed from the right side. Shut up, Zhu Yun in the middle was dripping with sweat, his face twisted in pain. This move is strong, but the pain is indescribable. Especially with 2 souls merging into his body, every second that passes is a torture. That's why, unless he was desperate, Zhu Yun would never use it. Unfortunately, today has come. The 3 magic treasures lit up simultaneously. The 3 pairs of arms formed hand seals. The aura suppressed the entire world. Ye Junlin slightly raised an eyebrow. Why does this old monk look so uncomfortable? But immediately afterward he sensed an extremely terrifying energy rising before him. For the first time, Ye Junlin became serious, his hand gripping the hilt of his sword tightly, pouring magic power into the sword's body. The sword trembled violently. Then a burst of power shot out like a tidal wave. Whoosh! The 2 clones simultaneously appeared on either side, their eyes as sharp as swords, looking forward at the same time. Zhu Yun roared, unleashing his strongest attack. Today, either you die or I perish. A destructive aura spread throughout Brahma Mountain, causing the earth and sky to shake, heaven and earth to turn upside down. The scene was extremely terrifying. Ye Junlin, in coordination with his 2 clones, simultaneously swung his sword, a heaven-splitting sword Kui tearing through everything. He shouted, "Kill! Boom, boom, boom!" In everyone's eyes, there was only a white expanse. Their ears were ringing. The entire world seemed to fall into silence. Time and space seemed to freeze. Master has made his move. Li Wuji stood stiffly, his whole body numbed. Is this the battle between top powerhouses? He shouted. Master, Bai Shaoxi reflexively covered her eyes, squeaking, "Squeak, squeak, I'm going blind." The great devil trembled, exclaiming in horror. Humans are so scary, Hong Tianye gasped, his eyes shaking. As if trying to verify something, he asked, his voice hoarse, "What's the result?" At the point of impact, bursts of power exploded one after another. Anyone with a cultivation level below the Tribulation Transcendence realm, if they were near the center, would be crushed into dust. The other cultivators fled in panic. Screams echoed throughout Brahma Mountain. "I've never seen such a fierce battle." Another cultivator shouted as he ran, "Run, don't say any more. If you talk too much, you won't make it." A bolt of lightning struck down from the sky, like a waterfall cascading down to the human world. Everything below seemed to be turned to ashes. The energy storm gradually dissipated. The scene that appeared before their eyes was ancient temples turned into ruins. The surviving elders and disciples looked up, their hearts filled with hope. But just a second later, that hope shattered instantly. They were filled with despair, exclaiming with grief. No. The 3 saints of Shuangkong Temple who were once high and mighty were now kneeling on the ground in disarray, their bodies stained with fresh blood. Only Ye Junlin and his two clones stood tall in the sky. He slightly raised his chin, his voice echoing indifferently across the sky. You've lost. In that brief moment, both sides had clashed with all their might. But in the end, the three saints of Xuankong Temple couldn't withstand it and were forced to dissolve. Their spirits were exhausted, and their injuries were severe. Although they were transcending tribulation stage experts who could regenerate limbs, their magical power and true essence were completely depleted. Just as Ye Junlin had said, they had lost. And not just lost, but lost completely. Zhu Yun only felt a chill run through his body, as if he had just survived a disaster. In his heart, he roared in despair. How can there be such a terrifying transcending tribulation stage expert in this world? He had to know that he was fighting right on his own turf, using every means to enhance his strength, even exceeding the limits of the transcending tribulation stage. Under such conditions, he should have been able to perform to the maximum. Yet, in front of this devil, he still suffered a crushing defeat. The opponent's suffocating power made him completely despair. Elder Longshang excitedly shouted, "Devil, don't be too complacent. With the contributions that our Xuankong Temple has made, there will definitely be fellow cultivators who will stand up to act on behalf of the heavens and eliminate you immediately." Elder Qingjing, wounded, sighed, "Alas, who would have thought that the Buddhist Holy Land that once saved the common people would encounter such a calamity? We are truly sorry to the past sages. We have failed to protect this pure land and let down their efforts." Ye Junlin spoke. "Why are these guys acting like they're the victims, and I've become the heinous devil?" He raised an eyebrow and sneered, Hey, you two old geezers, stop acting. Just the dirty deeds that your Xuankong Temple has done are enough to make heaven and earth indignant. So many innocent people have died tragically at your hands. If we really settle the accounts, I'm afraid you'd have to go down to hell to repent." Elder Longxiang almost lost control. He felt that he had been severely insulted and shouted, "Devil, don't talk nonsense. Since ancient times, Xuankong Temple has always taken saving the common people as its responsibility. Every disciple must go down the mountain to train, eliminate evil, and do good everywhere. We understand the principle of the winner takes all, but before killing us, you still want to smear the reputation of Xuankong Temple. I despise this kind of behavior from the bottom of my heart. Damn it. You're too disgusting." Ye Junlin sneered. "Ha! You make it sound so real." Qing Jing roared angrily, his face full of grief, like a gentleman being humiliated. "Damn it, what do you mean? Back then, the three of us went down the mountain to subdue demons, protect the weak, and countless Xuankong Temple disciples have done good deeds to help the world. There's still clear evidence of those things to this day. How can a devil like you casually slander us?" The smile on Ye Junlin's lips gradually disappeared, and his eyes turned to the current abbot of Xuankong Temple. He saw that the Buddhist leader was still silent. Ye Junlin said coldly, "Old Baldy, it seems that your two fellow disciples still don't know anything. Do you dare to tell them about the things that Xuankong Temple has done?" The two elders also gradually realized something, and immediately turned to look at Abbot Shuyun. What was he saying? Shuyun lowered his head, his heart in intense turmoil, his lips trembling. Don't ask anymore." Ye Junlin smiled coldly, and reached out his hand. A mysterious light flashed in his palm. "You don't want to say, or you don't dare to say? Then let me give you a hand." Shu Yun felt that a part of his memory was being plundered and copied, and he immediately shouted in horror, "No, don't!" He wanted to resist, but in his current state, Shu Yun simply didn't have the qualification to do so. Ye Junlin flicked his finger, and two beams of light immediately flew straight into the space between the eyebrows of the other two. "You two, see for yourselves." In just an instant, the shady things that Xuankong Temple had secretly done, along with the entire cause and effect of this matter, appeared clearly and completely in their minds. Elder Longxiang's eyes were bloodshot, and his lips trembled. Why is it like this? How could it be like this? Everything was completely contrary to his memory of Xuankong Temple in the past. Qing Jing was in pain, and 2 lines of tears rolled down his cheeks. "Shu Yun, you are a damned beast. How many innocent people have been implicated and lost their lives over the years? But is this something that people in the Buddhist faith should do? Are you worthy of the expectations of the previous abbot? If I had known earlier, I would definitely have eliminated scum like you, sin. From generation to generation, whenever Xuankong Temple encountered danger, it did its best to stand up and take responsibility, and therefore was respected by the world. But now, because of you, that reputation has completely collapsed. Zhu Yun, what face do you have to face your ancestors? Have you forgotten the great vows you made before the abbot?" Hearing the two people's angry accusations, Shu Yun gradually became annoyed, and finally, the anger that had been building up for a long time erupted. He roared, "Enough!" Suddenly he spat out a stream of black energy and shouted, "Everything I did was for the reputation of Xuankong Temple." The purple flame around Shu Yun's body burned fiercely, and he continued to roar, "I am here to realize my dream of becoming an immortal, but that dream is also what I think of." For Xuankong Temple, Zhu Yun laughed like a madman and continued, "I'm afraid the immortal realm is about to be destroyed. 2 years ago, a senior in the immortal realm used supreme secret techniques to transmit a dream to me, informing me that the situation in the immortal realm is getting worse and worse. Many immortals have fallen in the starry sky, and even the immortal realm supreme is hard to protect his life. As a result, many lower realms have been destroyed or fallen into the hands of foreign races. Soon, the Kowloon realm will also be affected. He told me to quickly prepare and lead the monks of Xuankong Temple to find a way out." First, Longxiang and Qingjing, the two were shocked, transported magical weapons in front of them, and shouted in unison, "What? Are you also a traitor who colluded with the underworld race in secret? For so many years, none of us has paid attention to them." Shu Yun continued to go crazy, his body burning, rushing towards Ye Junlin, and shouted, "Now I will light the first fire for the underworld realm army to conquer the County Loon realm. Let's be reborn together." Ye Junlin just stood there. Longxiang elder lamented with a voice full of sorrow, "If this is true, where will the myriad creatures of the Kunlun realm go?" The space was silent, and a gloomy atmosphere pervaded everywhere. But there was one exception. Ye Junlin smiled lightly, sighing, "It seems that the sky is really about to change. This time it's even more interesting." Combined with what he had witnessed before, the creatures of the Stargate from Mingyuan and the unexplained anomalies, Ye Junlin vaguely felt that it all might be related to the Great Tribulation of the Immortal Realm. He turned around indifferently, intending to leave. Done. Longjiang Elder was extremely surprised. This outcome is completely contrary to the expectation in his mind. Just letting us go like that. Qingjing Elder also asked loudly, Ye benefactor, what do you mean? Ye Junlin walked away while scratching the back of his head, and said indifferently, what's so surprising? Anyway, I am also a person who has gone through 9 years of compulsory education, a high-level intellectual, and can still distinguish basic right from wrong. Moreover, you are not the mastermind, not even accomplices, just vaguely involved. Now that old prick is dead, and Xuankong Temple has paid the price, the rest is up to you to deal with. Well, bye. Hearing this, both of them were stunned. The 9 years of compulsory education or high-level knowledge they didn't understand, but the meaning behind it was clear. This person didn't intend to vent his anger on them, but clearly distinguished right from wrong. Whoever caused the trouble bears the consequences. Now that Shu Yun is dead and Xuankong Temple has suffered heavy losses, consider it retribution. Watching his carefree back, Longjiang and Qingjing put their palms together in front of their chests and exclaimed emotionally, Amitabha, Ye, benefactor, you subdue people with virtue. We are truly not convinced. Sarcasm. Ye Junlin called out softly, Kun. As soon as Kun Peng recognized the caller as its master, it immediately, obediently flew over silently. Then the whole group quickly climbed onto Kun Peng's back. Below the foot of the mountain, the three brothers, the great prince, and their younger sister were also struggling to follow the mountain road down. At this time, people outside were watching the situation at Fantuo Mountain. The princess looked up and pointed in surprise. Look, what is that? Could that be a transcending tribulation stage mount? It seems that the great power has left. The great prince also said. So that means the battle is over. What I am most concerned about is whether Xuankong Temple has been completely destroyed. On the top of Fantuo Mountain, the monks mournfully cleaned up the battlefield. First, this battle caused countless fellow disciples to die, and the Nails also suffered heavy losses. This is the biggest blow since Xuankong Temple was established. But at this point, no one has any words to complain. It was all self-inflicted. An elder comforted the disciples. Everyone, although the abbot has passed away, as long as Longxiang Elder and Qingjing Elder are still here, I believe that Xuankong Temple can still restore its glory. The atmosphere was still heavy. Longxiang Elder sighed. Restore its glory, easier said than done, Qingjing Elder replied bitterly. It seems that we are going to be busy again this time, yes, but we have to swallow this bitter fruit. In fact, they are also responsible for Xuankong Temple falling into today's situation. They shouldn't have left everything alone, and just focused on closed-door cultivation. Longxiang Elder shook his head. It's too late to say anything now. Suddenly, Longxiang felt something unusual. His eyebrows twitched continuously, and a dangerous aura rose in his heart. He immediately shouted loudly, his shout reverberating like the lion's roar of Buddhism, causing dust to swirl violently. Who's there? Come out now! Qingjing Elder also immediately felt something unusual, both surprised and angry. Someone dared to take advantage of the chaos to sneak into Fantuo Mountain. More importantly, the number of intruders is not just one. Judging from the aura detected, some have even reached the transcending tribulation stage. Waves of ripples appeared in the void, and figures stepped out one after another, all dressed in uniform black clothes, wearing hats to cover their faces. The leader was a middle-aged man. The black-clad protector crossed his arms